What's up, everybody? Welcome to, I think this is the 28th Chillporeal, and returning for the sequel to the very, very first Chillporeal I ever did is the one and only, straight from Nihon itself, Angrycanadien. What's up, sir? Thanks for doing this sequel. If you consider this a sequel, or is this a spiritual successor?
Dude, thanks for inviting me. I mean, this is awesome. That intro is hilarious. I love the bit with Picard being a little upset with my collection. That was
That's
awesome.
it's
The
it,
timing
it
of it.
that's how every intro is. I leave the Picard thing in there just at that particular point in the song. Every time because I started showing like egregious stuff from, like, especially from Wheel of Time, Amazon's Wheel of Prime.
Yeah.
I just kept it in. I just thought it was hilarious to have them do it for everything. But yeah, man, thanks for doing this. Thanks for another thing. I really enjoyed our conversation we had on Christmas Day when you were streaming. And for him, he's 15 hours ahead of me, so he was streaming like all during the graveyard shift and everything. So while I was cooking, I was able to take a break from cooking and then hang out. And he was playing games that I haven't played in years, so it was fun watching, especially Halo Combat Evolved.
Yeah, bro, that was fun. I was really thankful that you hung out most of that time too, and just chatted it up and helped me with Zelda as well. That was that was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, it's always fun to watch other people play games that I've grown up on, because I mean, Legend of Zelda was the fifth, or I think the fifth game I've ever owned on Nintendo. So I mean, the first four games I ever owned was Super Mario and Duck Hunt, then Mario 3, and then Donkey Kong Classics, which was the original. It was the NES port of the original Donkey Kong. They took away a stage from the arcade game, and Donkey Kong Jr. And then the fourth
oh,
game was
nice.
Mario
Okay.
2, and then because I ran out of Mario games, Legend of Zelda. So I saw the animated show before I ever played the game, and I played Zelda 2 because I rented Zelda 2 before that, but I didn't own Zelda 2 until uh, after I owned the original game. So when I first played Zelda 2, I was like, okay, this is just like Mario. It's a platformer and everything. And then when my parents gave me the original Legend of Zelda, the red Zelda in the gold box, uh, I'm playing. I'm like, what is this? This is not the same thing. What is this? Like, what is this top down view? What's going on here? And so that was one thing that actually did baffle me at first when I first owned it. And my dad helped me play it back in the day, and I was like, where do I go? What do I do? So
That's hilarious, man.
I didn't know the bridge to level 1. I didn't even know that was a bridge. I thought it was just, I didn't know what that was. So I didn't know to cross that. I went around. I'm like, what do I do? And then I just turned it off. So yeah, but that's the Legend of Zelda for me. So but yeah, man. So I would say, actually, and you've got me interested in, besides playing more of these Nintendo titles. I've been watching your Lego streams, and I haven't built Legos in years. So I wanted to talk about how you got into Legos. Like, what I mean, it's your favorite. I think you said Legos is your favorite thing from the first Chillporeal. So just tell us, how did you come by Legos, especially why Bionicle of all things?
So when I was a wee lad, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, one of my first birthdays, it was a Spider-Man themed birthday because the Toby films came out, or the first one came out, and I remember getting a Bionicle for my birthday, but I had no idea what it was at the time. And it wasn't until like years later that my parents started giving me more Bionicles for my birthday, and I got really invested with it. But what really set it off was, back in the day, Nintendo, or excuse me, not Nintendo, Lego, they did a free Lego magazine. So you can like sign up and you get a magazine every 2 months, and they would use it as like a marketing thing to sell like their quarterly products or whatever. But in that magazine, there was Bionicle comics. And so that was like the longest, actually the only comic line I ever read was like these Bionicle comics, and they were really well done. The art was amazing, the storytelling was amazing. And so because of the comics, because of like a couple sprinkles of like presents in my early life, that's what hooked me into Bionicle. I had no friends that cared about Bionicle, like literally no one. It was just me. So I was in my own world, obsessed with it. It was just pretty funny. So
That's
um,
I dude, I definitely can relate to that, because that's how it was for me with Nintendo games like Mario. Like, no one else I knew liked Mario. and no one else I knew liked Star Trek. So, and my two big things I liked, I got into on my own. So
That's and then that's like you just build this like really deep passion for it, and you just want to like protect it, and you also want to share it with people and try to get them interested in it. But um yeah, so when it comes to Legos though, I never was like super big into Legos until I met my best friend, which when I was around, I don't know, 14 or 15 years of age. And my two best friends at the time, they were really big into Star Wars, especially like the
mhm,
prequels. And so I actually didn't really care about Star Wars prior to meeting them at all. And then they got me into Star Wars, and at the same time, they got me into Lego Star Wars, and that just started a whole new obsession, a whole new craze. And that's where for my 16th birthday, I want to say it was, I got my first Lego Star Wars set, this giant um, tank from the Clone Wars movie, and it came with my favorite clone trooper, which was Captain Rex.
mhm.
And and it was awesome. That thing has survived, like, the 10 years that I've had it, so, um, yeah, so then I was, like, really into Lego Star Wars. I would have sleepovers with these friends, and I would bring my Legos with me. Actually, sorry, we would bring our Legos to each other's houses, and we would have, like, these giant battles, like, scales and, like, big battles with, mixed in with, like, Imperial, like, and Rebels and stuff like that. It was kinda funny. Um, and then, yeah, I guess, real quickly in the chat, CLS saying he liked, Ninjago. So I was a big Lego Ninjago guy with my sister. They had so when Bionicle ended in 2010, Ninjago came around and they had this really cool TV series on Cartoon Network, and it was amazing to watch it like every week or whatever. The story was really well written. I didn't care about the sets; like I was more focused on buying Lego Star Wars sets, but the show was really cool and I liked the characters, and so I do have like a couple Ninjago sets because I bought them for like specific reasons, but yeah, so pretty much since I was like 15, 16 years of age, I collected Lego Star Wars all the way up until even now as an adult, with my newest one being the giant Ultimate Collector Series Venator, which is like 5,000 pieces and took me like 16 hours to build. So I love it. And I'm very thankful for my two best friends who got me into Star Wars and who got me into Legos as well.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. Um, but Ninjago, I remember Ninjago being on Cartoon Network when I was watching the Clone Wars. So is that basically Lego Ninja? Basically,
Yeah, I mean it's an original Lego like IP. And
Mhm.
so they just I want to say I need to double check. The guy that wrote for Bionicle the story, he when Bionicle ended, they brought him over to Ninjago and he wrote the story for Ninjago and
Yeah.
has kept it going ever since. But yeah, it's just basically ninjas. There's four ninjas in the beginning. They get hand selected by the sensei. And then like every season, it just gets better and better because they unlock new powers or they like train to unlock new abilities. There's a fifth ninja that gets added. It's almost like Power Ranger-esque in like how they develop over time, and like there's even like mechs and dragons that they use, like all kinds of crazy like bosses, and it's a really cool series. And I lost track of it after like maybe the first three seasons because of like life. So I need to get back into it and rewatch it. But it holds up really well in my opinion, and I love it. And yeah, my sister and I used to watch it all the time. We used to joke about it because there's some really funny like moments in the show that are just like at that time, there's like mid 2000s Cartoon Network, right? So like there's some really funny shows, and that's when cartoons were like cartoons, in my opinion. So they were good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, back then, yeah, and even when I was growing up, or late '80s, early '90s, and even before that, I don't know if you grew up watching a lot of older cartoons. I like, especially with the next generation, like my kids, or not my kid, I don't have any kids, my friends kids generation versus our generation, we all connect on, like, like all the video game stuff that is, that was around when we were kids, is around, still around now. The thing that connected me, and especially millennials, I think you're a millennial, I think, whatever,
Yes.
us millennials with like our parents' generation, the boomers, Gen X, whatever, the fact that we grew up on the same cartoons, especially I used to watch all the old Hanna-Barbera stuff, like going back, Scooby-Doo, Looney
Mm.
Tunes, Disney, all that stuff, Woody Woodpecker, all that same stuff. So I like how that there's that connection there. So but yeah, going back to Legos. Legos has been around for a long time too. I've looked up like the history of Legos. I didn't know they were a Danish company. Apparently, it's a Danish company, started in the 30s. And I remember like the sets that were big on that I used to see on TV, because they had to do subliminal advertising to us kids back in the early 90s. Sugar cereal and video games and, well, Legos. And the big ones that I remember was the castle, and the pirate. There was the castle
Yes.
lineup, and there was the pirate lineup. I think there was a train lineup, but I don't remember them advertising on TV compared to the castle and the pirate. So those were the two things I always wanted, but they were always so expensive, so I never quite got those for Christmas. But I always got like the smaller little sets, the ones that were easy to build. And what's funny? Whenever I built those easy sets, I felt like I felt awesome. I felt like I was top of the world. Like, I built this. And then I get a bigger set for older kids. I'm like, oh shoot, this is tougher to handle, because it just shows you the picture, and you have to figure out what pieces to put together and all that. So, and I kind of want.
I was gonna say that's really interesting, because a lot of like older Lego instruction manuals are really bad compared to the newer ones. Like, they're not as detailed. Because I have a lot of my old manuals still, and I'll when I was rebuilding all of these sets this last year, the old ones wouldn't tell you exactly like the piece you need to use. Like, now the newer manuals, at the top left corner of the page, there's like a inventory that says like, all right, for this step you need like these pieces. But back in the day, they didn't even have that there. You just had to like look at the main picture and guess like, okay, what piece was added to this set. And so I can't imagine building like some really, really old sets and like struggling with it.
So I had a question. You said that, like, you just shared that you got the Star Wars Episode 3 set. So tell us about that. I think you said, yeah.
Yes. So these are I'm not going to reveal pictures at this time, but when I went to Tokyo Comic Con, I went there with my buddy Jinja Ninja, and the first day I was there, he said like, "Hey, if you want, you can walk around and check stuff out," because he wasn't so busy. So I walked around, and there was a vendor there, and the vendor was selling a lot of like old action figures, like I think it's called Way of the Force Star Wars action figures.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of those. They had a lot of Spawn and superheroes. But when I turned this one corner on this like small shelf they had just like a ton of classic Lego Star Wars sets there. Stuff that I didn't really like care so much about, but I know they're worth quite a bit of money nowadays, especially if you have the box and the manuals and stuff. And so yeah, I perused their collection there to see what they had, and I bought everything that was basically prequel, because that's like I have more of a connection to the prequels than the original trilogy. But they had some solid original trilogy sets there. I'm talking like Jabba's barge, the Battle of Hoth. They had the excuse me, they had the Millennium Falcon from the Battle of Hoth, because it had Han in his like snow gear. Um,
Are they like really? Are they from that era? Like, they're literally from the era when the movies came out?
I believe. Well, some of them. Okay, so there were some that were from. Lego Star Wars didn't start until like the 80s or 90s, I think.
Okay.
Like the actual Lego Star Wars toy line, it wasn't until like the 80s or 90s. But they were these were sets between the 90s and the early 2000s. So they're like kind of like gold, like Lego collector's gold. They actually, one of the sets. So a way to tell an old set from like a modern set is the color of the box. If a Star Wars set has a blue box to it, like a blue color box, that's like one of the OG Lego Star Wars sets.
Okay.
And back in the day, they called it Lego System. If you look at the box art, it says like Lego System. So that's how you could tell like what is old and what is like kind of newer. Especially the box art was like the graphics were different, but the blue boxes, man, I should have bought it, because I probably could have flipped it and paid for the ones that I bought because of how cheap they were selling them. But I didn't want to like I was already spending a lot, and I didn't want to come home and explain to my wife like, I already blew past like my allowance budget for the next 3 months, so I didn't want to have to explain that to her. So I just bought the ones that I really wanted. So you guys will see that in a later in the future, I should say.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. So Lego Star Wars started in 1999, or that's when they got the license.
That makes sense. Yep.
Okay, all right then. Okay, I was for a second, I'm like, did they make Lego Star Wars back in the
No, no, no,
back in
no.
the during the original trilogy. I was just like, be like, whoa, man, I mean, whoa. So, but I like the sets that you've built, especially the Clone Wars ones. The one with the Walker was cool. I think wasn't the last Lego stream you did wasn't that Star Wars that you're building what was it, Star Destroyer or something like a Star Destroyer?
Yeah, the last one that I did, which was like the first series, the first in a series is the Venator from Episode 3, or even the Clone Wars show. It's the flagship of the Galactic Republic, or Grand Army of the Republic. Sorry, and yeah, that just came out this year, and I had to buy it. Like, there was no choice. I had to get it because I love that ship over the Star Destroyer. Even though the Star Destroyer is really cool, I just prefer the Venator. So, and that's because I grew up watching the Clone Wars, and you see it in almost like every episode or every other
That's true.
episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I might as well say I forgot to say hello to the chat here. So let's start with a few people that showed up earlier. Paul Hadoken, what's up, sir? Then we got Sir Nerdy Neo, who was streaming at the same time as me. I love you. I love you, sir. You're awesome.
Great guy. Yep.
And then we got Angrycanadien fanboy who just did a God of War retrospective. Definitely check that out. IJP Mexican, what's up? Thanks for being here. And then I don't know who this member Angrycanadien is. Is he someone you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's someone I know.
Pop Culture Mechanic, good to see you. It's been a while. I miss you. I miss you, sir. Definitely check out his what is it called? Tech Talk.
Yes, Trade Talk Tuesday.
Trade Talk Tuesday. And then we got CLS Studio. What's up, sir? Thanks for showing up. You've been showing up regularly. Thanks for doing that. Dude, did I ever have a link to the past? That's a good question. I mean, my highest viewed video is a link to the past retrospective. Of course, I say that in this, so I have to plug myself on my own stream. So. And Don Ranger Power, what's up, sir? Thanks for being here. Every time I see you, I keep reminding myself I have to watch that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers anniversary thing on Netflix. So I'll do that. I'll get to it. Then we got Alice S. And Alice S. and more IGP Mexican. All right. So I have to ask. What so I consider myself a sub normie with Lego. So where should I start again? Where should I start again with Legos? Like,
so what are some things that, like, themes that you like? Do you like spaceships? Do you like pirates? Do you like castles? Actually, I have a good idea. So you mentioned earlier that did you say you wanted the original castle set that you saw as a kid and the pirate one?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So luckily for you, Nintendo actually brought, or not, why do I keep saying Nintendo? Lego. They sound the same. Lego brought them back, and they're called like Classic, and they basically like remade those two original sets. They remade. I'll send you a link here in a second. They remade the pirate and they remade the castle. The pirate one, I guess it might not be as good as the original one, because that one had a different like dragon to it or whatever. But the castle one is pretty dope. Let me see if I can find. Oh no, here's the pirate one. This might be the original one. But anyway, so if you want to get into, but they're big sets, right? You're talking like 1,000 pieces. So
yes, I was thinking starting with something. I was thinking, that would be like level 100.
Okay,
I was thinking of starting back, level 1.
Okay, so let me rattle off. Go ahead.
Maybe I should get something for 3-year-olds to start with. I don't know.
Well, let me rattle off some themes and let me know if they interest you. So we have, of course, Batman. I don't know if you're a big Batman person.
I mean, I have the 4 films. I have the Dark Knight. Well, I have the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
Okay.
I used to watch Adam West Batman quite a bit when I was a kid, because they aired that on all the time. So I was a big fan. Like, so reason why I'm so critical of comic book movies now is because we had gold with the Batman movies, especially with that Rogues Gallery. Like Batman, like the Batman stuff was just so interesting. The villains were so cool. They all were so unique, and so yeah. And I love the movies. So
All right.
even Batman and Robin. Yeah, I know.
They might have something in the Batman section. What about architecture? Lego does some pretty cool architectural sets. So they've got like Himeji Castle, they got Paris, they got London. These are like display pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've got New York City. Like, unfortunately, they don't have Chicago. I mean, I don't know what they're missing out here. They don't have Chicago represented here, but the architecture stuff, it's more for adults, but it's not too complicated. Like I think you can figure it out without any issues. Um, of course, there's Harry Potter. The Harry Potter sets are pretty interesting. They've got like many different versions of Hogwarts Castle, but those are like really big. They have Diagon Alley. They have like
Diagon Alley?
or Diagon Alley.
No. You. So remember in I think it was the second movie. He accidentally, or the second book, he says Diagon Alley, and he gets sent somewhere else. He gets sent to the bad part of Diagon Alley. So he says, because yeah, so you have to say it proper. So that's why I was kind of throwing you off there. So my bad.
Oh, okay.
My bad. I
No, you're
disrupted
good.
my own stream.
So yeah, there's Harry Potter, Jurassic World. Here's the problem with that. They have some cool Jurassic Park sets, but they're gonna only be around for like maybe another year. The Jurassic World sets are a little ridiculous in my opinion, so I would steer clear from them. But the Jurassic Park sets are really cool. I own all of them, and I like them a lot. Um, they have Lego Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings. Now, Lord of the Rings, I think, yeah, the only main set they have is Rivendell, and it's a really expensive set. It comes with like everybody that was at the gathering of the Fellowship. Like it's 15 minifigures, but it is a big set. It will take you a long time. It might be a little daunting for you, but that's a theme. That's the only thing they have in that theme. And then let's see. We already talked about Ninjago. Oh, they have Sonic the Hedgehog. You know about the Sonic the Hedgehog Lego sets?
Yeah, I think I took a picture. So I was out shopping. I took a picture of that, and I sent it to you because you're the Lego guy. So, and it was 2D Sonic because you don't like 2D Sonic. So I thought it'd be funny to send you a picture of 2D Sonic Legos, something you love with something you don't love, and see how that mixes well. And I was expecting, damn you, Corporeal, for bringing this pain back, all that. So.
Well, for you, maybe this one would be the best one, and IJP Lego Founding Fathers win. That'd be awesome, but I don't know.
The Second Continental Congress. You got your Alexander Hamilton. I don't know if Alexander Hamilton was part of that, but you got your John Adams, your Benjamin Franklin, your John Hancock. Yeah.
When it comes to like Lego Sonic, the only one that I plan on buying is they're going to release a Shadow the Hedgehog Lego set early next year, and that's the only one I plan on really buying. I might get the Tails Workshop with the tornado plane because I like the tornado, but I'm not sure yet. So the one I put in the private chat, that one might interest you. It's basically like a diorama of a Green Hill Zone.
Oh, this looks this looks sick.
Yeah, it probably is. I don't believe it's that difficult. Oh, actually, you know what? I completely forgot, man. You could take a look at it while I find this one thing.
Maybe I'll start with these video game themed ones. Like I know I bought a few for my friend Brian for his daughter. I bought a few Mario ones for his daughter. So we actually tried building them, and even those were kicking my ass. So that tells you how that tells you how good of a Lego person I am. So I got these are skills I think are necessary for life, don't you think? So
yeah, man. Yeah, and then the second one I just sent you, this one's on back order.
Oh my gosh, this is so dude, this is expensive.
I know, but this would be more special to you because you grew up with that console. So these are just ideas. I'm just throwing ideas at you.
I know. And I love it. Like if this wasn't so expensive, I'd buy it right away. Look at this. Look at this. An NES with a this is exactly the type of TV I originally played games on. Like this is like a 1980. Well, this is like a 1980 TV set. You know, we had a Panasonic back in the day, and yeah, it was literally a knob. You pulled the knob, and the TV would turn on. We had an antenna on top of it. So, and now the question is, what would make this perfectly authentic is when you press the button of the NES, it goes gray, white, or it would go gray, white, because it never works. These systems never worked. They never worked. You had to either blow into the cartridge, or in my case, you had to kind of finagle. I put my hand into the NES, wiggle the cartridge around. I don't know why. There was something my dad used to do, and it worked sometimes. Sometimes it would work right after doing it, and then you put it down. Yeah. But this is, oh man.
That, by the way, that image on the screen rotates. There's a little handle on the right side there, and if you spin it, it actually rotates it spins the screen. If you scroll down through some of the photos, there's like a photo showing it off that it actually rotates.
Let's see.
They're almost there.
They have a cartridge.
Yeah, there's a cartridge too.
Yeah, it's not quite authentic for nostalgia. See, mine has to have Duck Hunt on the bottom. So. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, so that's the rotating, that's the pieces for the rotating section.
Oh, this looks awesome. Oh my gosh. This box. Look at it. Oh,
yeah, the boxes, the adult boxes are pretty cool. They're like all black, and they yeah, it's pretty neat.
You know how to hit me where I'm at my weakest right now. So this is awesome. So where's the rotate? I want to see the
right there. See how he's got his hand on it right now?
Yeah.
So if you spin that or rotate it, it'll move the image. Like it'll spin around a carousel, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. When I I'll have to budget this. I'll have to figure out a budget for this.
Yeah, you'll have to just look up a YouTube video on it. I'm pretty sure the video will show you
you can put the cartridge in.
Yeah, you can load the cartridge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but you have to remember to blow. You have to remember to blow into the cartridge, or the screen's gonna be completely gray right here. See, this is gonna be completely gray, a gray and white screen, right here. Controller. Oh, is this an actual cable? Wow. And then they got I can see them doing that. Wow. I love that box. 18 plus.
So there you go, man. I gave you some suggestions. I wouldn't recommend anything Star Wars. Some of them have been pretty weak as far as like Star Wars stuff recently. So, because they're focusing too much on like the TV shows, and there's not like a lot of like OT or like Clone Wars or even prequel stuff. So, it depends. I mean, they do have a couple things here and there, but yes, Lego Star Wars has been hit and miss the last several years.
I trip. I need to start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Should I start a GoFundMe, AC?
Yes.
That's cool. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I do. Maybe if I'm gonna do something Lego related, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after the stream and all that, and we'll definitely.
Yeah,
I want to see. I kind of want to. You've got me interested, sir. You've got me interested. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not just saying this just to butter you up, or am I? There's always that mystery behind this brain of mine. So, but yeah, man, thanks for sharing. I know Lego, like once again, Legos is your wheelhouse. And I forgot to say hello to a certain my streaming bro. Where is he? Oh yeah, so he recommends Lego and Nintendo. Okay, yeah. So like you said, like the Mario, there's Mario stuff. What other Nintendo? Have they done anything other than Mario for Nintendo?
They've done the Mario toys, like their Lego Mario toys. They've just been adding to them. So all they've done is like they've added like a Donkey Kong expansion to them. Here, I'll send you a link. It's pretty cool, but like it's too childish for me. Like I don't. I mean, it's cool, but I don't have the space to store all of it because I like it. It looks really cool. The only Donkey Kong set I would get would be like Funky Kong because he's one of my favorite Kongs. But
Oh, they have a Donkey Kong set.
yeah, I just sent you the link for the theme, like the overall theme. Oh yeah, they did come out with this Piranha Plant Lego set. It's at the top of the page there when you look at it, or the Super Mario 64 question mark block. Yeah, you might be interested in that. Um, but the Mario toys are like for little kids, and there's like electronics to them and whatnot. They're pretty cool. They cover a lot of like stuff in the Nintendo world, but the Donkey Kong stuff is new. Like they've just recently started selling them.
Oh, the penguins right here.
That's new. That's brand new. Yeah, that just dropped.
I forget what do they call those penguins in Mario 64. I forget what they call them.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that either.
Let me look. Penguins in Mario 64. Yeah, those guys. What was cool about that, what's funny is one thing I really liked about Mario Kart 64, and I think I've told you this on your thing. I like the connection that it made with Mario 64. Like they had the penguins waddling around in the ice roads, ice tracks, and
Yep.
in Peach's castle, you get to see if you stray off the Royal Raceway, you once again you hit the if you stray off of it, you get to Peach's castle and everything. So I thought it was
Mm,
cool just riding around and seeing like what aspects of Mario 64 they kept
yes.
in that. So yeah. So let me penguins.
Trip is asking if you have a GameCube.
My brother has the GameCube, so we still have the same. We still have the GameCube that I bought years ago, but my brother pretty much. Well, actually, no. My brother has my N64. Sorry, no. I still have my GameCube right here. My brother has my N64. So, yeah, I still have Mario Sunshine. I still have Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. The Sonic stuff that I think I showed you. I have Sonic Adventure DX and all that.
Yep.
And I don't think I did. I think I got rid of Wind Waker. And because now I have the Wii U version, and yeah, they're just called penguins. They're just called penguins in Mario 64. So okay, so they got this. Did they like announce any like Zelda stuff? Okay, here's a DK one.
No, so in the chat, they're talking about how the Lego website in recent years, Lego has been partnering with like creators, and there's this thing called Lego Ideas. And basically, if you have a knack for Legos, you know how to like design stuff, you could submit an idea of like a Lego set. And
Yeah,
if Lego likes that idea and they can like sell it, they will turn it into an actual product. And they've done that for a lot of these sets. So they've done it with like Doctor Who. They've done it for like other like kind of like actually Ghost Rider or not Ghost Rider, Ghostbusters. They've done it for Ghostbusters. I'm pretty sure like maybe the NES might have been one of them. I don't know, but there a lot of ideas like actual ideas get turned into products. So people have been trying hard to put like Metroid as a Lego set or Legend of Zelda as a Lego set, and so
I mean
they've been like
the first thing that comes to mind for Metroid is Samus's ship.
yes, there's somebody has submitted a Samus's gunship as a Lego set, and it looks really cool. So it's just up to Lego, like I guess because obviously there's licensing stuff they have to do, right? Like get permission and or pay for it. So the Lego idea stuff is pretty interesting.
Another thing that I think they could do with Metroid, the mother brain fight. You have
Oh yeah,
you have the mother brain, and then you have all the platforms and everything. You have to have a background to connect to put the platforms against something, and then have the barriers, have the different barriers, and everything. And heck, maybe even add a little Lego of Samus's different beams, and maybe even show a screw attack, like have her in a screw attack form. So it could be kind of like an animation. Well, not quite an animation, but you know what I'm talking about. So you have
yep, I
Samus
understand.
standing on a platform, then you could show another one where she's in her screw attack
Yes,
midair, and something cool like that. And you could put that wherever you want. You could put
they
that
could.
wherever
What
you want in the setup.
Yep. They could design it similar to that Super Mario one we just saw, the NES one,
Yeah.
with the 2D style to it, but even
Hmm.
3D would be pretty cool. Um, But
So I see
yeah,
Yoshi. So they have some. They have a Yoshi. They have a Yoshi set. They
yeah, they
have
have some Yoshi expansion stuff.
and they have all this Mario stuff here. I like how they. I like how they. I like how they've given some love to the Mario. Baddies. Are they really that bad? Are they just following? They're just following orders from Bowser. Even Bowser's misunderstood. He's just a bully. He's just a bully that wants to be respected.
Mm,
He's just going about the wrong way. Am I right? Whereas characters like the Mother Brain and Ganon, they're evil and they gotta be destroyed.
yes, yes.
So
So there you go, man. Like, there's some ideas for you for Lego sets. Obviously, you can always ask me more questions or whatever. But I think the first two ones I sent you, especially that Sonic one, it's a
yeah.
little bit cheaper, and I think it's more in your wheelhouse, and you might have a lot of fun building it.
Okay. Okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. So I'll have to figure out if I want to stream it. I have to figure out how do you I know you because I know you stream your stuff. Do you have like a camera or something, or do you use your webcam for
Um, I don't
streaming?
I don't have a webcam, so I just use my phone and I stream through like YouTube on the app on my phone.
Okay.
And it works well, but the you need to have a second screen for the chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just use like an iPad for the chat box.
So CLS wants you to tell me about CMFs.
Oh, CMFs. What? That sounds familiar. He's gonna have to elaborate what CMFs is. I can't remember. Um, yeah. And are you in Trips? Are you in the Red Hand server? Is that
Yeah,
like the
that's
White
the
Cloak
yeah,
server?
yeah, that's the White Cloak
Okay.
server. Yeah,
Trying to do a deal here with her or him or her. I don't know. I'm not
Trip's the lady.
a lady. All right. Because I guess she wants to get rid of her GameCube, so she's willing to part ways with it. I wouldn't mind owning another one, an American one, because I have a Japanese one, and actually I gotta fix it because it's starting to like fail on me right now. So um, I wish I had an American one because I have a lot of American games. So oh, character minifigure series. Oh, that's right. That's why I rang a bell. Okay, so the last point I'll talk about Lego is CF or CMF character minifigure series. There's been some hilarious controversy around it because originally the Lego minifigure series was like a gotcha thing. So like you go to Walmart and there was like a cardboard box that had a bunch of little plastic packets, and you couldn't tell what the minifigure was unless you felt it, and they were random, right? And there was
Hmm.
like they released them in waves. They did it for like regular Lego minifigures. They did it for like Marvel stuff. They have yet to do it for Star Wars, which is a crime because if they did it for Star Wars, they would make a lot of money. Anyways, so the recent controversy is they decided to swap out the plastic bags for cardboard like mini boxes,
Hmm.
but people have been actually like ripping into them and stealing them off the store shelves, like
Oh
the
no.
cardboard boxes. So like they might have to go back to the plastic bags, but yeah, the collect a character minifigure series is like a really big craze for like because you get some like unique minifigures like if you're into like normal Legos, like non themed Legos. And so yeah, people are like really big into that. I don't care for it, but it's funny following the craze about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google character miniseries, and I'm getting like TV shows and all that. So I got to put down Legos. All right, so okay, so Lego. So it's just the figurines, basically the
They're
little.
basically just figurines, and they're all like random, like they have like different styles or whatever. And like I said, they did like Marvel, they did some other themes as well. Um, but like they still have yet to do Star Wars, and I think they really should do Star Wars because I might actually buy them if they have Star Wars ones. But um, yeah,
It's okay. All right, that's interesting. And you can easily incorporate them into any. Can you incorporate them into any Lego set to like do all the like? Can you put like can you do like are like the distances between the two the 2 points that
they're
fasten on?
exactly the same. They're official Lego minifigure.
Okay.
They're still a minifigure. They're just like the series is like an exclusive series, so like the characters are just I don't know, they're just exclusive and but it's still a minifigure. You could play with it, you can display it or whatever. So yeah.
Oh, you know what else it might interest me that I'm seeing? Are there a whole bunch of Simpson stuff? Because I'm seeing this. I'm
That
seeing
was
the
a
Simpson figurines, minifigures right here.
yeah, so let me look that up. I think a Lego Ideas was a Simpson set or whatever, and then they did they also did The Office. There's an office The Office Lego set, which is pretty funny.
I think there's an
Uh,
Office one. There's a Seinfeld one
there was a
of Jerry
Seinfeld one,
Seinfeld's
yes.
apartment in the show. I think there's a Friends one.
There might have been. There's also the Atari 2600 if you were interested in that back in the day.
I didn't even know what
Um,
Atari was until like somebody told me about it when I was a kid. So I was like, I always thought
oh,
NES was the oldest thing, and then they're like, no, the Atari was before. I'm like, I never heard of this.
and the chat's talking about Transformers, but they also did a Optimus Prime Lego set that was actually pretty cool. I saw it on display. I thought it was a really cool looking set. So,
So I
um,
remember. So I remember Oh yeah, Power Rangers is owned by Hasbro. I forget. So I know Power Rangers was for the longest time owned by Saban Entertainment. That's they were the ones that produced Mighty Morphin back in the day. And then I think remember I don't know if you did you ever watch Power Rangers?
yes, I watched them. I watched a specific series of Power Rangers, but yeah, I've seen them.
Oh yeah. I remember you saying you watched like what was it, Dino Thunder or something.
Yes.
Okay, so you watched a totally different era from what I watched. But Dino Thunder is
Yes.
basically the same theme as the original first season of Mighty Morphin. The dinosaur theme and all that. So, but but yeah, like there was one point where Disney actually owned Power Rangers, and then they sold it back to Haim Saban, and then Saban sold it once again to Saban sold it probably for good to Hasbro.
Oh wow.
And so here's the thing. So my one of my friends is a big he runs the Tokusatsu wiki. So so like a fan sub wiki. So a lot of the shows, a lot of the a lot of the live action special effects driven shows, like Super Sentai, Metal Heroes, Kamen Rider, um, I forgot I think there was another series. Metal Heroes included VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs. 90s shows. I'm probably sure you're probably not
I
familiar
have
with.
no
But
idea what you're talking about.
you have no idea what I'm talking about because this was mid 90s. This was like 94 to 96. So they Power Rangers was the first live action to be adapted by Saban Entertainment. Then Saban decided, hey, Power Rangers is a success. So let's adapt a different live action Japanese show. So they took two Metal Hero shows from the 80s. One was called Metalder and one was called Spielbahn, and they combined them to create the show VR Troopers. We are. So
Interesting.
yeah. So there's a reason. So there were three heroes. One hero was always separated from the other two. Well, and I was like, I always wondered, why is that the case? And I realized one hero is from one particular show, and then the other two were from another show. That's why they were never really together when they fought a particular, monster in a rubber suit or actor in a rubber suit. So so that's why. And one of them I actually watched. So I think Metalder was the one that I watched. That was the one with the leader of the group, and they were fighting the main villain that the show portrayed, or that the show adapted from. So yeah, so that was that was the thing. So seeing the Japanese versions of these shows, because that's what they did. They basically they filmed American footage, and then they incorporated with the Japanese stuff. They just made sure not to show any Japanese people or Japanese actors,
Right.
unless they were wearing like a costume or something like that. One thing I noticed when I was first watching as a kid, these shows, was you could tell the difference between the American and the Japanese footage and everything. The Japanese footage looked like it was like 2 decades older when it actually wasn't. So,
That's
but
really
yeah,
interesting. Wow.
but yeah, what were we talking? Yeah, we're talking about like so like my friend runs the Tokusatsu wiki, so he's been keeping track of all the fan subs. So like anime's been fan sub for several years. That's how I watch a lot of shows before they ever came out in the United States. The same thing goes with a lot of these live action live action Sentai shows. All Super Sentai's been fan sub, by the way, so we can Americans can watch any episode of any show from 1975 to the present. So. Um, but that's Shout Factory. Shout Factory was releasing on DVD physical media of the Super Sentai shows. So they released all the way from Jetman, which was the show before what became Mighty Morphin, Ranger. So Jetman all the way to I think I forget what was the one after Lightspeed Rescue or something. There's Lost
Uh,
Galaxy, there was Lightspeed Rescue, then there was um
it wasn't Wild Force, was it, or is that too soon?
I think that might have been two. I think it was a couple. It was like up to like 2003. It was the show that came out in 2002,
I'll look
2003.
it up while you're talking.
So, but yeah, so when Saban owned it, they were still releasing DVDs. After that, once Hasbro bought it, then they halted that. So I'm curious if they're ever going to release any more of those. I'm wondering if they're going to release any more of those shows and everything. Yeah, there's Time Force
Time Force. It was Time Force.
and
Don
Wild
got it
Force.
right.
Yeah, Donnie knows all about Power Rangers. I mean, it's in his name. So
That's cool.
but yeah, eventually, that was the Mighty Morphin, the original, the Jew. So watch, even though I never watched Jew Ranger, I watched Jew Ranger as an adult. That was what the first season of Power Rangers that was adapted from. I watched that, and even though I never saw the full show, I felt like I finally watched the full show to end, because unlike Power Rangers, where it was always open ended, there was never really a series finale until Power Rangers in Space. Each Sentai show had a beginning, middle, and end. So there was a conclusion that they had. So I actually it was fun. It was actually nice getting to finally see how they initially concluded. And then, like I said, once the show ended, then the following week, another show started right away. So there was every week there was on Toei. Toei always released an episode of a Sentai show. So yeah, sorry, I kind of got carried away talking about this stuff, but yeah. So but yeah, so I figure, we got kind of segue into, video gaming and all that. So you talking about Halo and us talking about Halo the other day on Christmas just got me, thinking about all the good times that I had, like watching or playing Halo. Like playing Halo was done during a very important part of my life, a very happy part of my life. And because I told you, let's add some atmosphere here. Chat, let me know if it's okay.
Your mic kind of dropped out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now it's back.
All right. Okay, good. All right, good. But like I was saying, Halo came out during a very special part of my life. I made some new friends, and this was probably the first time I ever had a chance to share some of the nerdy stuff that I liked with fans, and had these type of conversations like you and I are having right now. I used to have these conversations with them, over, we used to hang out late at night, drink black coffee late at night, and just talk about nerd stuff. We used to talk about Transformers. We used to talk about the stuff we grew up with. They got me into RPGs and anime, and I got them into like classic movies and Star Trek and everything. So there was a back and forth, and they got me into Halo. We used to hang out and have Halo. We used to have Halo parties. And so you and I were talking on Discord. Like I was asking you if like there's anything beyond Killtacular, because one of the funniest moments of playing Halo was watching my friend's brother getting double kill, triple kill, Killtacular. So I was curious if there was more, like there were more things said after Killtacular.
Yeah, I remember that. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but I always remember like Killpocalypse, Kilimanjaro, and like Killionaire. Like just they were funny, like the namings of them, and like it was hard to get like that many kills. Like it was basically kill streaks,
It's like I think you have to do it within 3 to 4 seconds. I
something
think.
like that. Yeah. And but they were pretty creative. Yeah, the voice announcer is the best part about Halo multiplayer. The Kilimanjaro.
I think I don't know, because I don't remember that, because I was watching some videos seeing like how far it would go. I think it was in the sequel in Halo 2 or something that they started with Beyond Killtacular, because I was watching a video multiplayer. I think it was Damnation, and I just heard I heard Killtacular like 2 or 3 times in a row. So
you're probably right, because when I played the original, or when I played Combat Evolved, it was a PC port, so I'm not sure if they like updated it with because when the PC port came out, Halo 2 had already been out, I believe. So I don't know if they just updated with the other medals, and then now the Master Chief Collection, like they probably added it in the Master Chief Collection as well, like all those other ranks. But yeah, IJP says that Halo 1 only had Killtacular, so Unfortunately, I couldn't live those glory days, but that's pretty cool that it only had Killtacular. So they had to add more to it.
We were like, it was what's funny was we all heard this for the first time when my friend's brother did that. My friend's brother always destroyed the rest of us. So like he always got number one. His name was Cecil, based off of the main character from Final Fantasy IV, or when it came out on Super Nintendo, it was Final Fantasy II. So he was Cecil. One of my friends was Pinky. My friend Steven was Pinky, and then my other friend Chris was the Brain. And then I forgot my friend David. I forgot what his name was, but what he used to like to taunt us, especially when he killed us in Halo, and he'd teabag us.
Oh yeah, the glorious teabagging.
Yeah, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been teabagged in Halo multiplayer?
Yeah, obviously everyone has it once or twice. Or you give the teabagging, which is pretty fun. But yeah,
So that's why, like, especially Combat Evolve was very special. Like I think whenever we had a lot of people, like whenever we had like 4 Xboxes, there was one time where my friend's brother's friend had his own group of friends, and we went to a coffee shop. I brought I think my friend Steven brought an Xbox, my friend Chris's brother brought an Xbox, and then his friend's friend, they brought 2 Xboxes each. So we played, I think, Sidewinder, the base, the big base. We played Capture the Flag and everything. And
that must have been a blast.
Yes. But I think the one that we played the most, when I would just come over, we'd hang out and all that, just like two screens. We'd play either Damnation, or we'd play what was the one with Hang 'em High.
Oh,
So,
I hate that one. That one's terrible. But yeah, I know which one.
You didn't like Hang 'em High? Hang 'em High was fun with snipers only.
Yeah, that I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That one's chaotic. Yeah.
You want to know chaotic? Rocket launchers only. That was chaotic. Like I think I nearly pissed myself how funny that was.
Yes.
It was just like, it didn't require any skill. So I actually managed to not get last place for once. So, oh yeah, by the way, my name on that was the Beast.
Nice.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so that was my, and then eventually, because of all these times of playing Halo, and then my friend's brother, because we played in his room, he had a poster of Knights of the Old Republic, the original. I was asking him because I was playing at the time, I think I was playing Jedi Outcast on the GameCube. I don't know if that actually, I'm not sure if that came out yet. This was 2004. This was 2000. I think this was like 2004, 2005. I think Jedi Outcast came out, so I was playing that. And it was kind of rebuilding my interest in playing Star Wars games, because I played back in the day. I played Shadows of the Empire on the N64. That was that and Mario 64 were the first 2 games I ever played on the N64. We rented them, and that got that, between watching the original trilogy and playing that game, is what really got me interested in Star Wars again. And then the prequel trilogy came out, and then Star Wars was big again, even though there was a lot of hate. It was popular to hate on the prequels. So
yes,
it was okay back then to hate on the prequels by certain people, and then the same people, certain YouTubers who I will not name, who are way bigger than all of us combined, will say nothing but good things about the Disney stuff and about stuff that comes out now. So like, oh, we're mature now. Shut up.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's strange how times have changed, and how like now corporations and are really sticking their claws into critics and all that. So hey, what can I say? But yeah,
back to Halo.
But yeah, sorry, back to Halo. How did you get? I mean, I don't know if I asked this already, but how did you first? Did you first experience Halo 1? What Halo game did you first experience that got you into the series?
So for me, it's a really interesting story. I'll have to step back and explain. So growing up, I didn't know there were other games outside of Nintendo. Like, I lived in this really small Nintendo bubble. Like, I knew there was Sonic. I didn't know Sonic was like on like Sega consoles. So I didn't know like all of these other consoles until I was maybe like a early teenager, and we got a PlayStation 3, and I was like, "What is this?" And we had it as more of like a Blu-ray player, and I played there was a couple free games you can play at the time, but around 2010, I had a church friend of mine. He was like talking about this game called Halo Reach, and I was like, "Halo Reach, what is this?" He's like, "Oh, it's so cool! You get to do this, do that, or whatever." And around that time is when I also discovered YouTube. So I jumped onto YouTube and I found the trailers for Halo Reach, and I was like instantly sold. I was like, "Whoa, what is this like military sci-fi game?" Because I was really big into military sci-fi. I mean, Star Wars: The Clone Wars was huge, so for me at least, I was easily hooked into it. And so when Halo Reach dropped, I watched the whole game on YouTube because someone did a walkthrough. It was like a no commentary walkthrough, and I was just sold, man. I absolutely fell in love with Halo, even though I didn't even own anything that was Halo. I was just sold right away. And so I did some digging, and I found this cool little thing called the Halo Combat Evolved PC demo. It was something free that Bungie had on their website for a long time, and other websites took it and were making it free as well. So I played the PC demo, and the PC demo only included the Silent Cartographer, which is like the fourth mission in the game, as a campaign level, and it only included Blood Gulch as the multiplayer map. However, you could play it online, so you could play with other people online. This PC demo, and I played that to my heart's content for like many months until I finally I got a part-time job, and I was able to buy the full PC game, the Gearbox port of Combat Evolved, and I played all of that. Like I played that through so many times. I'm pretty sure I beat it on Legendary as well. But with the going back to the PC demo, what was cool about it is there was a modding community out there that made mods for the PC demo. So I was like playing Halo 2 assets in Halo Combat Evolved. So like the battle rifle, the energy sword, like all these like things that were not even supposed to be in Combat Evolved. It was a lot of fun. And so then after that, I had a friend that had an Xbox 360, so I would always try to find an excuse to go hang out with him, to go play Halo Reach or play Halo or whatever. I think he only had like Reach and maybe Halo 4 at the time, and so it was pretty fun. Like I was so invested in Halo. I read the books too because there were some books that were released way back in the day. So I read all the books I could, and then I still couldn't play any of the games. But
What was some of the books you recommended? The only one that I remember we talked about this during your stream was The Fall of Reach. That's the only one that I remember.
So when it comes to the Halo books, there's a few like sets I would recommend. The original 6 are really good. So you have The Fall of Reach, which is the first book. The Flood is the second book, but it was written by a different author, so it feels different while you're reading it. You're like, this feels like after reading the first book, you're like, this second book feels out of place. The third book is First Strike, which is written by the original author Eric Nyland. And then the fourth book is Ghost of Onyx. That's a really good book as well. And then there was 2 other books that I actually never read until I was an adult. They was called The Cole Protocol, which was really cool. And then the other one was called Contact Harvest. And Contact Harvest actually deals with the origin story of Sergeant Johnson from Halo 2 or Halo 1, 2, and 3. And also it talks about the first contact that the humans had with the Covenant on this planet called Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool book. But when it comes to newer...
Is Sergeant Johnson... I have a question. Is Sergeant Johnson based off of Sergeant Apone from Aliens?
I don't remember that character in Alien.
Aliens.
Sorry,
yeah.
Aliens. I don't remember.
You've seen Aliens, right? I mean, the whole
it's been a while,
Marines thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the sergeant that comes out with the cigar. He's like, "Okay, sweethearts, you ain't getting breakfast in bed. Hop to it."
Well, when did Aliens release? What year do you remember?
1986.
Okay, so he had to have been based off of that character because you see that opening monologue for Combat Evolved when he lines everybody up and he does like this really funny. I mean, you could pull it up. It was on my stream, and he's just like grilling the recruits. He's like, "All right, listen up, greenhorns."
Yeah.
Like he had to have been based off.
Oh of yeah, like he's like, "Okay, sweethearts, you heard the man. Get to it." Something like that. Yeah, and the only thing is he got killed too quickly. But that guy was a real Marine. The actor,
the voice actor.
The Sergeant Apone in Aliens That the actor was a
Oh,
real Marine, I think. I think he was. I think he was. So yep.
here I need you
Okay.
to.
At least you've seen Aliens. At least you've seen Aliens.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's been a while, but here I need you to play this YouTube video for the audience. I think people will have a laugh listening to this.
All right. Let me stop this screen and. All right. All right. Let me add this to the. Yeah. By the way, I may know someone who did an Aliens retrospective.
I'll have to
Yeah.
check it out then, because it's been a minute since I've seen it, so I'll have to check it out.
Oh, okay. That's one of my earliest. It's one of the few videos, few movie videos actually kind of didn't blow up the way Ocarina and the video game stuff did, but it's gotten pretty good. It gets some views. So, let's see, present, share screen.
You'll love this. You'll love this little like trailer or clip or whatever you call it.
So share audio, contact. Where is it? Window. Share a tab or screen instead, so I can't share. All right, so there, share the audio. There we go. Share. Yeah, this is brand new now, so let's see. I actually went. All right.
So
let me
give context. So
Okay.
to give context, this clip, when you beat the Halo demo, like the silent cartographer mission, this clip plays at the end. So
Oh.
that's to give context.
Okay.
So, you beat the Halo demo. Not bad, soldier, not bad at all. But are you ready to take the next step? In the full version of Halo, you'll find additional vehicles like tanks, plasma turrets, and aircraft. Powerful new human and alien weapons. A single-player campaign spanning 10 massive indoor and outdoor environments. And support for intense multiplayer battles with up to 16 of your friends. Or enemies. All that wrapped up in an epic sci-fi story that's so freaky. Whoa! It makes me shake just thinking about it. Halo, Combat Evolved. Buy one. Heck, buy two. That's an order, soldier.
Oh man, I miss these days. I miss those days of and that's cool. Now that's advertising I can get behind right there. So that's awesome.
I love
Thanks
that.
for sharing that. I didn't even know about that. I did know, however, about the PC. So my friend Steven played the PC version for the longest time. Yeah, like he told me like it's different from the Xbox, the Xbox version.
Yeah, the graphics are like the shaders for some of the textures are like kind of washed. They don't look as good as the original Xbox version, but yeah, it wasn't bad. I didn't know, but I thought it was amazing. One thing I forgot to mention is when I had the demo, there was a couple of times where I had people come over, my friends come and have a sleepover, and we did a LAN party with just the demo. So we played Blood Gulch online. It was like 4 of us in this like family room of ours. We had 2 desktop computers and 2 laptops, just going ham on like randos online, like 4 versus whatever randos in Blood Gulch. So like one of us was flying around in the Banshee, just bombarding. The others were like driving around in Warthogs, and it was hilarious just playing the demo. So that's how much fun it was.
What other multiplayer maps were there? I mean, yeah, Blood Gulch was one that we definitely played quite a bit. That was fun, especially riding the Warthogs and all that into just riding the Warthogs to different parts, just trying to find people. How many times I've been picked off by snipers in that
Oh, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. So what was another one? Let me look.
So they had Battle Creek. Battle Creek was like another famous one. This like really small map that was kind of like a mini version of Blood Gulch.
Yeah, I actually like Battle Creek.
They had Ice Fields. Some of these are actually PC exclusive. So there was Ice Fields was PC exclusive. Danger Canyon was PC exclusive. Death Island was also PC exclusive. Death Island is interesting. Basically, Death Island is the silent cartographer campaign level, like just the outside of it as like a multiplayer map. Prisoner, that's another famous one. I like Prisoner a lot. Rat Race was pretty fun too with all the teleporters.
Is that was Rat Race? Okay, because
Yeah, Rat Race was with the teleporters. Timberland was cool too, but that was a PC exclusive, and then they brought it back. They made a lot of these. They did remakes. They did a remake of them for the Combat Evolve Anniversary edition. So
are these so if the new anniversary versions, they all have these new PC
yeah, so if
maps?
you play the Master Chief Collection, it has all of these maps,
Okay,
or should at least, if I remember.
All right, I have a question for you. So how many times have they re-released Halo?
You talking about the original game, like the Combat Evolved?
The original game, Halo 2, like Halo 3, after the fact. How many times have they re-released it? Like, did they re-release it for every system? So, like, for Xbox 3, obviously 360, Xbox One, I think they came out. What about the Xbox Series X?
So, what it has become is, so you have Combat Evolved and Halo 2, and all they did was they did anniversary editions of them for the Xbox One. Well, actually, Combat Evolved had a 360 anniversary edition. So they did that, but Halo 2 anniversary is only on the Master Chief Collection. It's not a standalone game. So the Master Chief Collection was made for Xbox One or the Xbox One platform, because that includes like Series X and all of that jazz. And then if you want to count the PC Steam version as a separate release, the Master Chief Collection, so that includes 1, 2, 3, Reach, ODST, and the anniversaries of 1 and 2. And 4, sorry, Halo 4. So that was a PC release. So that's kind of like a third release of Combat Evolved. Yeah. They like the Xbox platform is weird. Like Series X, Xbox One, they're the same like architecture or whatever, just the games are much more beefier for the Series X or whatever. So hey what's up, Dread?
I know this guy. Yeah, we all three of us watched what was it called? Not High Noon.
Rebel
High
Moon.
Noon's actually a good Rebel Moon together. And it's the greatest movie ever, right? Right?
Oh my goodness. Well, before we continue, I'm gonna since you've been an awesome friend, I'm gonna show my support for you by dropping some stuff in the chat for people that may or may not be watching. So we'll see what happens.
Oh no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do this.
I like to do it for people that let me on their streams and they have the membership available for me to gift. So yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So I gotta be nice to him. I gotta be nice to AC. So I can't bully him. I was gonna bully you at the end, because I actually have a message from a certain Gray from Wakizashi concerning a show that I may or may not have bullied you into watching.
Oh no.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Well, going back to the Halo books, if you want to read something that's really interesting, the Kilo 5 trilogy, the story takes place right after Halo 3, and it's basically a group of characters that are trying to secretly create a civil war with the elites, while also dealing with like some other like behind the scenes stuff. The author is Karen Travis. And the reason why I would vouch for her is because she wrote the Republic Commando book series, like before Disney Star Wars. She wrote this Republic Commando series, and her writing's really good when it comes to like special ops type stuff. So, I liked it a lot. And Kilo 5 trilogy is really good. A lot of the newer books, they're hit and miss. They're not too terrible, but they're just like not super interesting. So, but I would start with the original books, the first 4 that I mentioned.
Okay, so do they still come out with Halo books regularly?
Yeah, they're about like once a year-ish. They did come out with there's one coming out soon in the next couple of months, I think. And then there was one that released about a couple months ago. But they're like once a year, twice a year. They're not 343's been weird when it comes to the lore. They'll create a game and they'll have all this lore in the game, and then they expect you to read the book prior to the game so you can be caught up on the lore. And it's
really?
Like, well, that's for lazy. Hardcore fans, that's fine, but for like the casual fan, they're going to be lost. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. You can't do that. Like, it's kind of like what with like sometimes Disney Star Wars kind of expects you to read their their stuff to be familiar with it. And like, come on, you can't do that and everything. Put the stuff in the movie.
Yes.
like they come out with the bare bones Force Awakens and the bare bones sequel trilogy, or the Disney trilogy in general. And then they're like, oh, you want some world building, some background stuff? Read our books. I'm like, no, I'm not paying for your books. I've read a few of them. They're not that great. So sorry.
So Napoleon, tell me, what got you interested in the Halo stuff recently? The Halo music in particular.
Well, just once again, I think it might be attributed to, once again, this is like I said, heavy nostalgia here. Like I said, this was a really happy part of my life. I was starting college, and it was bonding with other people. That, I mean, I got into this because of my friends at the time. I mean, I still consider them friends, even though I haven't talked to them in a very long time. But, these were new friends to make, and they had equivalent interests. And like me being a loner most of my time growing up, this was it was emotional. It was an emotional thing for me. So, and it was fun just hanging out and playing multiplayer. Now I'm terrible at multiplayer because my attention span, and like I lose track of like, where am I? What am I doing? And then my friends are shooting me in the head. Like I'm trying to kill them. Like I'm on them, and then they kill me with one shot. They get a headshot on me, and I'm dead. I'm like, son of a, but it was me thinking about that. And then, and plus I was watching some of I just watched your Halo CE music, your music analysis video, which everyone should watch. I have it in the description here. Definitely check it out. Save it for later if you can't watch it now, but definitely check it out. And I need to watch your Halo 2 stuff now. So I watched the first one. I loved it. It just reminded me of our streams doing the Mario and the Zelda soundtracks and all that. So I love how you went through every track from every level. And so watching it felt like I watched it on my big screen. So I watch on my big screen.
What an honor!
On my personal account. So I like, I'm not subscribed to on my personal account. So I just subbed, and yeah. So, but it took me back. I remember the insanity of, what was it, the stellar cartographer? What was it called? The
silent cartographer.
Silent cartographer. We were on the beach. I think it's the one where you're on the beach, and you have to enter. You have to enter the base, and then you get the map or something, and then you get attacked, and you get ambushed while you're like, you go down, and then you get ambushed, and you have to fight your way up, and then you have to jump into the chopper and all that, get to the chopper and everything. I thought that was cool. And then I love that level. And then it gets insane. I think right after that you go to the inner. So this entire planet's the ring, right? You're on a planet. You're on the Halo ring, right?
Yes, you're on the Halo ring itself.
Because that was something that I never quite put together until recently. So when you go into like the library and everything, that's, you're like deep inside the inner parts
of the superstructure of the ring. Yeah.
Okay. Isn't like the structure really thin though? Like the Halo ring? Or is it really?
No, it's pretty thick actually. It's I don't know the dimensions off the top of my head, but it is like, it's massive. Like even the innards of it is massive. That's why like you have like the library, right? The level's like really tall. Yeah. But I'm sure it's like much more kilometers like taller than that. Yeah, it's a superstructure. That's just the best way to explain it.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So I still have to brush up on my lore. Maybe I'm curious if the Halo rings are kind of like equivalent to the Dyson spheres. They're supposed to. I forget the point of the Halo. I forget what was the point of the Halo rings. Just to I forget what the purpose of the Halo rings were.
So the Halo rings, their only purpose, not only purpose, their primary purpose is to kill all life within a certain galactic radius of like however far they're programmed to, like several, like hundreds of thousands of light years or whatever away. That's why there's like 14 of them spread around the galaxy. So it's a super
weapon, basically.
It's a super weapon, yeah. And they basically were designed to eliminate the food source from the flood, because the flood consume anything that's living. So if you get rid of the food source, then the flood can just like die of starvation. But there was some in recent games they've been uncovering like secondary reasons for the Halo rings. So some of them have been used as like research labs. Some of them have been used as like technology labs as well. Some of them have been used as like safe havens. So like all of them, apparently each one of them have their own separate purpose as like secondary purpose, but their primary function is to eradicate all living life within a certain radius.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, I definitely, like the Lego thing. I think I'm overdue for a Halo replay in the future. So, because this talk is making me want to play it now.
Nice.
So before I even go any further, I want to once again thank you, AC, for gifting those 5 memberships. So now I have to welcome everybody one by one. So Dread Roberts is now part of the Nerporial Continuum. So I have to share my usual welcome for. I have to share my usual welcome for this. So let's start with this.
I swear, if you ever show your face out there again, I won't. Ever. Ever. Oh.
So that's from Beverly Hills Cop. If you don't know, if you don't know about Beverly Hills Cop, so Dread Roberts got one. Who else got one? Let me see. Kyla Dare got one. Chris Saunders got one. Jacob Ironside got one. And Peter Herbert got one. And none of these people are here, so I'll just leave it for Dreads. So, but
no problems, man.
So all the Halo games I forget. Did you say Reach is your favorite because it's the first one that you played, the one that got you into the series?
Reach is my favorite for a couple reasons. Yes, one, it's because I was introduced to Halo that way. 2, I like the focus on the military sci-fi aspect of it, whereas like a lot of the other Halo games focus on the like universal, mysterious, alien type of stuff, with the Forerunners, which I think is cool and all. And I love Master Chief as a character, but Halo Reach, like boots on the ground type of story with the military sci-fi aspect of it. That's what I really enjoyed the most. And then finally the music. I know arguably Halo 3 probably has the best music in the whole series, but I personally love Halo Reach's music. The great composer himself, Marty O'Donnell, the way he expressed the music in Halo Reach is that he wanted to create this sense of like loss in every track that was played in the game, because they knew that they were going to fight a losing battle, because they knew the Covenant was just too overwhelmingly strong that they just had to like get as many people off planet as they could. And there was a lot of sacrifice that's in that game, which is, I think, a great theme for that game is just sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I love that game, and I love the aesthetics of it. I think the multiplayer is amazing in that game. It's like peak Halo multiplayer for me.
Okay.
So that's just the reason why I love that game.
I'm not as familiar with the multiplayer of the games after CE. We kind of stopped doing that after a couple years, unfortunately. So we tried it with Halo 2, 2004. I think the sword kind of killed it. So if you have the sword, you automatically kill somebody. I was just like, oh, really? I don't think any of us like that. So,
but the shotgun was the same way, though. If you get close to somebody with a shotgun, they're dead. So the sword was like the counter to the shotgun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember the shot. Yeah, I do remember the shotgun. The shotgun was fun. It was fun. It was fun to do that. So I forget, what was your favorite track from Halo CE? I think it's one of these that I got. I
so I have 2. The one you're playing right now is Under Cover of Night. I love that one a lot. Yeah, this one right here with the nice bass line and the airy, like, vocals, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I also like A Walk in the Woods. I think that one's pretty cool. It has like a lot of nice renditions that he has done throughout the years, like different versions of it. I also like Gun Pointed at the Head of the Universe. A lot of the tracks that I like have really heavy rhythm to them, like with the drums and whatnot. So Gun Pointed at the Head of the Universe is really good. And then Rock Anthem to Save the World is really good too. It's got like a crazy guitar, I want to say guitar solo, but a guitar line to it as well.
Yeah.
yeah, so those would be like my 4 favorite songs.
I was listening to
Might be
your
one more. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, what's it called? Covenant Dance. Yeah, Covenant Dance is pretty cool. I like the first part of Covenant Dance.
I was listening to your like I said, I
Your
was
audio
listening to your,
dropped out. It's probably because you swap in the music in and out. Your
Can you hear me?
audio dropped out.
Can-
No, I
can you
can't
hear me now?
you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you still.
Stop sharing. Can you hear me?
Nope, still can't. Oh, Alice says she can hear you. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Let me
Oh, I'm an idiot. Hold on. Okay, now I can hear you. It was on my end. My bad.
what happened?
So this headset I have has this like rotary knob for game and chat volume, and it was like accidentally like rotated to the wrong end, so I couldn't hear you. So that's my bad. My bad.
Is this a Verizon commercial? I don't get
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. Rip, that's awesome.
What?
Is this a Verizon commercial? Yeah.
Why? Because of the music?
No. The us said, "Can we hear each other?" Because I think I remember that commercial.
Oh, okay. I was like, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I love the Halo music. I own every CD, physical. I think there's only one I don't own. Obviously, I made YouTube videos on it. I would love to talk to the composer because he seems like a really cool guy. Yeah.
I heard, I think this was from your video. I hear like he sometimes comes on and listens to videos and comments.
He does, but he kind of only does it to like really big channels. That's like you got to have like 100, maybe like 50K or more.
Yeah.
So whenever I get to that point, I'll have to hit up an interview with him. But
You know, it's funny. What's funny is I missed out on one channel that I was on his channel where he was talking about the show Star Trek Continues, which is, you know, Vic Mignogna's continuation of the original series. And he was talking about, then one day I was on, I talked about it a little bit with him, then I left, and then I find out later, like 20 minutes after I left, that Vic Mignogna himself was listening in the chat, and then they brought him on and he talked about, you know, making that show. And I was just like,
whoa.
I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, man. So, and this was well after all the stuff that happened with him and all that. So,
Right.
but if you ever finish the original series, you got to watch Star Trek Continues. And you know what? I think there's a message from Grayson about the original series, since I kind of brought it up. So, you want to hear it?
Sure, let's do it.
So I have to ask you, Gray. You have to tell Angrycanadien why he should keep watching the original Star Trek.
Because it's so much fun, and for this just one reason, this episode, Spock, you really see the logical side of Spock, and he does a great performance. That really stood out for me in this. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah,
Really, really good Spock episode.
Yep, there you have it. I listened to Gray. He knows what he's talking about. So,
yeah, I like Tripp's response right here. It's like, Brian is talking about Star Trek. Well, Tripp is a big fan of Captain Kirk, original Captain Kirk, William Shatner. So I know that.
I love the show. I love it. It's just someone here hasn't been sending me episodes. That's the problem. Let me double check. But I'm pretty sure I watched everything you sent me. So
Even Corbomite, the one that even the Corbomite one.
all right, I'm gonna have to pull up my email. But yeah, man, I'll keep watching them. I like them. They're easy to watch. They're not boring, if that makes sense. Like I actually have invested interest in it.
I mean, yeah, like if you know, we could if me and Gray do an episode, we should drag you on with us. We should drag you on for like 5 minutes. Say, hey, what do you think of this? Blah blah blah. Okay, see it, AC.
Actually, you did send me 2, and I didn't check them out yet. So I will. I'll do that maybe today or tomorrow. I'll check them out.
Yeah, and maybe we'll talk. Maybe in a year or two you'll get around to watching them. Just kidding. Hey, look who else came. Look who else came for you.
Yeah, Dad Man, awesome guy. Him and Mrs. Dad Man,
Man, Dad Man, Mrs. Dad Man are great.
good people.
And we got Jaden here. What's up, Jaden? How you doing? So, but yeah, so we talked about. So yeah, I like Marty O'Donnell's soundtrack. Every time I hear "oh," it takes me back to that time that I just told you that got me into Halo and hanging out with new friends and all that. So it's a very special thing. So, I got a question. How long have you been an aficionado of video game music? Because that's pretty much the main thing that you and I really connect on is the video game music.
If I can think back to like an earliest memory, it would have to be around the same age that like I found Halo. I was taking piano lessons, so I was just like, I had to take piano lessons. So to make it more interesting, I like taught myself Legend of Zelda music on the piano. And so that's when I started diving deeper into Legend of Zelda music. And around that time, you would remember this, Skyward Sword came out. And if you bought a copy of Skyward Sword, it came with the 25th anniversary album.
Yes.
And I loved that album. And I listened to it like day and night. So probably like 10 years ago-ish now, a little bit more. That's when I got really into video game music. I mean, I've always liked it, but like actually dived into it and like downloaded the music, from certain sources onto my iPod and listened to it that way. Especially around that time, I got into Sonic the Hedgehog music, like 3D Sonic music. So that was really cool. And then from then it just grew. Like I started listening to more music, going back and revisiting old soundtracks, collecting the actual CDs for them as well. And it's just grown into like a bigger, like hobby, I guess, is collecting specific video game soundtracks.
Who's collecting specific video game soundtracks?
No, me. I'm doing that.
Oh, okay. You know what? This I put on this one track right here. This sounds very Metroid Prime.
Oh, this is what's the name of this? I should know this. It's when you're in the swamp when you're about to go face.
It's called
the flood.
What on? And I.
Well, what was lost?
What on? It's number 11. It's OST number 11. What on? And then it goes ... because that's all the. It's all the social. Let me look really quickly. I have the file. Where'd I put it?
What once was lost. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah. What once was lost. Okay, so it only showed part of the word. So it said what on. I was like, okay, that's not what it was. Yeah. What once was lost. Yeah. So.
Yes, I agree. It does have that Metroid feel to it.
And what's funny is there's another track. I forget which one it is. There's one track that sounded also that, and then this predates Metroid Prime by at least the first game by a year. But there's one track that starts with it starts with just a singular note like that. Not okay. I'm doing a bad job replicating it, but it has that single note, very powerful. They played it in Prime 3. And I swear whoever did the Prime trilogy soundtrack kind of took some ideas from Halo.
Interesting. I'm just trying to remember what that would be. Either Shadows or.
So the opening. I don't know if you remember. I don't know how familiar you are with the Metroid Prime trilogy soundtrack, especially Prime 3. The opening where you first see Dark Samus in Prime 3, and you hear that. It's that very, very, very technical sounding. It's hard to.
I'll pull it up right now on YouTube and listen to it. But yeah, I think I have the Prime 1 soundtrack, the physical, but I don't have 2 and 3.
Oh, you got the physical. I don't think I've ever bought the soundtracks. I don't know. I like the soundtracks. I don't know how available they are. At least the physical. You have them on CD. You have them on CD or what?
Yeah, this one's a Japanese CD that I just fortunately found online, and it came with a Fusion soundtrack as well, because both those games are released pretty close to each other. So they decided to make a soundtrack, a 2-set CD or whatever.
Because I'll tell you, man. When I was in high school, this predated YouTube and I mean, the internet was a thing. I used to, when I was in high school, I used to go to the library. I was a freshman, before going to my track practice, because I did the shot put and this because I was a big kid. I would go on the GameSpot website. I think it was GameSpot, and I always look at for Majora's Mask updates, because I was like, I got completely blown away that they were making a sequel to Ocarina. And so every day I kept looking to see if there were any new, images or, screenshots of Majora's Mask and everything.
Yep.
So that was pretty much like how I first really used the internet, to surf the internet, was to look for either for cheats for Ocarina of Time or cheats for video games. That's how I first did it. We used Netscape Communicator back in the day. That was the internet browser. That was the big internet browser back in 99, 2000. But before the internet, like, there was no way I could listen to video game soundtracks. Like, the only way but the thing is, whenever I was in a distressful situation, whether I was either being humiliated or parents got mad or something, typical stuff like that, and I'd be so stressed out, I would always the music would just come back. Like if listening, like the stuff from Mario, Super Mario World, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, other games I played, Quest 64, the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Whenever I ever dealt with something that felt very traumatic, I would deal with it, cope with it by having the music that I remember, fondly remember. It would just come back and play in my head, and it would help me deal with what was going on.
Oh, I agree, man. That was the same for me. Listening to Legend of Zelda music, listening to Smash Brothers music, Halo, anything. Yeah, if I had a difficult time, there was always a specific theme or track I can go to and listen to, and it would help me get through it, and it would help me focus on what I needed to do. And it's pretty cool how video game music can be as impactful as like other pop music or whatever. So yeah, I understand that.
So the thing was, this was before the iPod. The iPod wasn't even out. iPod didn't come out until I was in college. So in high school, only thing I could listen to music wise was I had a Walkman. I had a Sony Walkman, a CD player, and that's the only way I could listen to music. That's the only way I could listen to music. It was back when pants in like your 90s, early 2000s. We all wore baggy pants. I didn't wear baggy pants, but I wore pants where the pockets were big enough that could fit a Discman, which was a Walkman. I never owned a Discman. A Walkman that was about like this, about the radius of size of my hand right here. So, and it would fit in your pocket. So, yeah, there were a few times where they've been stolen, and I've had CDs stolen because of that. But yeah, I wish I could have listened to video game music like anytime I wanted back then. The only way I could listen to the video game music was me turning on the Nintendo, or turning on the video game system.
Yep.
So that was the only way to do it. So it was the same for like the Star Trek score. For the longest time, I could not figure out a way to listen to the Star Trek score from the original series. Now, because of La La Land Records, they've released scores for a whole bunch of things that were never part of the soundtracks. Like the scores themselves, a lot of times, were not part of the soundtracks. So, like the Beverly Hills Cop score was not part of the official soundtrack. The same with Friday the 13th. The same with, I think there were a few other things, but yeah. So God bless La La Land Records for that. So, and because of YouTube, I can acquire some audio. I can acquire some of the soundtracks and listen to them whenever I want. So you would be surprised how spoiled we are now, like compared to back then.
No, I understand. Back then, my only way of listening to other video game music was through Smash Brothers. Like Smash Brothers had like the largest like video game library or video game music library. And they had a lot of cool stuff like remixes and obviously original stuff. So yeah, listening, I would just, because in the game itself, you can go to a menu that's like the sound test menu, and there was the music, and you could just turn it on and like shuffle the music or play it or whatever, and you could just listen to music right there, and that was like really cool just to listen to music from a video game, software. So, by the way, the song that you're thinking of that sounds like the Dark Samus Appear song, look up in your files. Lament for Private Jenkins. I think that's the song you're thinking. It sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lament for okay. Yeah, that's when you get to that's when you first encounter the flood, right?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, the flood was terrifying. Like when I
Yes.
first played it, the flood terrified the hell out of me. Like they were just like kicking my ass. Yeah, Lament for Private Jenkins.
Even if you read like the second book, Halo the Flood, the way they describe scenes and stuff. Actually, you know what? The most gross version of the flood is actually in a comic. There's a couple Halo comics out there, and one in particular is really well done and really graphic when it comes to like the flood and how gross they look. And yeah, that comic creeps me out every time I read it because of like the flood. Just a really creepy enemy.
Are you sure? I was listening to it just now. Lament for Private. It doesn't sound like it.
Did you keep going, or are you sure? Because
Yeah.
I listened to a couple other ones, and that was the closest one I could think
It's
of.
like a low hum. It's like oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then if
sorry.
that's
I
the
once
case-
again I did a bad job at I did a bad job. It's very atmospheric, it's very ambient.
Okay.
And then you hear all those technical, you hear all those tones, those undertones that create like a very technical.
Is it Perchance to Dream then?
Let me see, Perchance to Dream. So I mean, so you said Zelda was another series that you really enjoyed the soundtracks of. Was there anything else that you really dug? Other video game series?
I mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog, but that's specifically 3D Sonic. I liked some of the 2D Sonic songs, but 3D Sonic goes hard for me, especially if you start with like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. It's actually funny. I would listen to a lot of the 3D Sonic music while I was like skiing or while I was working out. Like whenever I was doing something like very like activity heavy, like rigorous, I would listen to that music, and it was like perfect. Other music,
My
honestly,
favorite. Did I tell you what my favorite soundtrack of all time is? Chrono Trigger.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, probably the most epic soundtrack. Probably the price. Like I listened to it. I was listening to someone's version of it. Someone's what do you call it where they do a version of it?
Cover.
Cover. Sorry, yeah, cover. Someone's cover for it. It got tears in my eyes. That's how effective Yasunori Mitsuda's track was, and he worked so hard on that one that he got freaking stomach ulcers. Like he had to go to the hospital for like a month. So
That's
you know
crazy.
who took over his work. He still had 10 tracks to complete. Nobuo Uematsu, the legend himself, took over and composed 10 tracks for that game.
That's impressive. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know how much. I don't know. Do you like? Have you listened to Yasunori Mitsuda or Nobuo Uematsu at all? I know you're not a big RPG guy.
I've listened to actually a friend of mine encouraged me to listen to the original Final Fantasy music. So I've listened Final Fantasy the original all the way to 7 soundtracks.
Oh, those are great. Those are great.
It's been a minute, but I did enjoy them. I actually bought outside of Zelda, Halo, or Nintendo, I did buy the Final Fantasy VII remake soundtrack, and I liked the remake soundtrack. I thought they did a really good job with that. Oh, I also forgot to mention Xenoblade. I like Xenoblade Chronicles music.
Okay.
Specifically, Xenoblade Chronicles, the first game and the third game. I like the music in both those games. So
I liked Yasunori himself worked on Xenogears.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the precursor. Yeah.
Yeah, so Xenoblade is basically the Xenosaga on the PS2 and the Xenoblade games for Nintendo. I forget who worked on Xenoblade again.
Monolith Soft.
Okay, Monolith Soft was founded by the director of Xenogears. So the original, I don't know if it was just the director of Xenogears, but I think maybe a few other people were part of Squaresoft at the time. And because Xenogears didn't sell as well, and they cut the budget, so they went over budget to the point where the game is basically incomplete. So what they did was
Wow.
the first disc was basically, a typical RPG. You're going from point A to point B, and the story unfolds naturally. They couldn't do that for disc 2, for the second half of the game. They ran out of time and money, so they just simply put in the boss fights. They put like a screen saying, "This is what our heroes did. They walked to here, and then it cuts to a boss fight, and you're just like, really?
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when
Wow.
you run out. That's what happens when you run out of budget. So that's the only thing that Xenogears suffered from. But the game itself, even with that, the game was so long. Like, the game is long and it's dark. That game is dark as hell. But it incorporates RPG, and you pilot as a mech. So you have to know when to pilot as a mech versus when you pilot as your characters and all that.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Okay.
yeah. So like, if you don't want to take on a giant, gargantuan monster as just your human characters. You want to be in the Xenogear and all that. So, but that's got a stellar soundtrack. Like, I used to listen to it like every day. Still kind of want to, but I want to replay it. It's just the game is so long. I've been considering like, you could just, like, there's so much story to that game. It's supposed to be part 5 of a 6-part saga that never got made.
Oh my goodness.
And like in Wheel, I'm going to bring up Wheel of Time again. Like in Wheel of Time, the main character lived in earlier eras. He was reincarnated from earlier eras. So yeah. So like, the very first thing you see in Xenogears is basically the beginning of the world, the creation of the world, or the start of the world by a starship, or by I think it was a freighter or a starship, crashes onto a planet, and then life springs up as a result of this ship. I'm guessing the ship had a lot of
Wait, you said that's the story for which game again?
Xenogears, the PS1
Wow,
game.
so they kind of repurposed that story and they made it Xenoblade Chronicles X. However, instead of the ship crashing and causing life, there was already life on the planet, but you needed to like re-pioneer that planet because you were an escaping colony from Earth.
Yeah.
And so you needed to like repopulate the planet and explore and stuff. But that is interesting. Okay.
I did own Xenoblade Chronicles X. I played it, and I'm not into the Xenoblade games. I tried. I can never really adapt to that system of battle and all that.
I have it too. I tried a little bit of it and I lost interest. I want to get back into it and try it all over again. But I like the Xenoblade story. The first one was Shulk. That story was awesome. I
did play that one in completion, I believe.
It had high stakes to it. Like, you're playing this game and the world just keeps getting bigger and bigger. You didn't realize like how much more there is to the story. I like stories like that where it's like you get a small piece of it in the beginning, and then like curveballs get thrown at you. I was not interested in Xenoblade 2 because like it felt too fan servicey and like it didn't feel serious enough like from the first game. And then when 3 came out, 3 was like really intense. Like, basically people are killing each other to survive their own side of the war, and like they only live for like 10 years or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, it's like kids fighting each other. Like, it's like dark stuff, and it was really sad. And I think I cried at the end of that game. I've never done that for a video game.
Kids fighting each other.
They're like teenagers.
So kind of like Gundam.
Basically, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, basically.
Well, Gundam, it was a kid. Well, actually, what's funny about Gundam is Gundam's a kid that's thrust into war and surrounded by adults, and then the kids basically loses complete faith in adults, which is a common Yoshiyuki Tomino theme in almost all of the shows. So,
yeah.
But sorry to go back to Gundam, but so yeah, because I was surprised how quickly Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out after X. Remember, X came out in 2015, I think 4 or 5 years. I don't know if you remember, but like there was a point where like fans were petitioning Nintendo to release Xenoblade Chronicles, the last story, and I forgot what the third game was. I think it was something Tower, Pandora's Tower. Those 3 games for the Wii. And for some reason, Reggie was the president of Nintendo America at the time. He did not want to release those games. Are you familiar with that? Are you familiar with?
No, actually, no, I'm not.
So those games did not. So fans were like, because my friend got fans knew about this, and they American fans knew about this, and I think those games were originally either, I don't know if they were European, I don't know if they came out in Europe, but I know they came out mainly in Japan. I don't know if they came out in Europe. Maybe someone to check and correct me. But they did not come out in America, and fans were petitioning this for a while.
What were the
And
games again?
Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, which was, I think, made by the Final Fantasy, I don't know, the Final Fantasy director, I think, did that, or someone.
Okay.
And I know Nobuo Uematsu did the soundtrack for that one, and Pandora's Tower. So I actually played through Last Story. I played through Xenoblade Chronicles. I tried to play a little bit of Pandora's Tower. I couldn't get into it. Pandora's Tower is more like an action RPG. I think they were all action RPGs, but and I mean they were okay. Honestly I don't remember them. They didn't have an impact on me like let's say a game like Chrono Trigger, or Xenogears, or Final Fantasy VII did. So I mean they were just okay. So, but yeah, there was a big petition. Fans were bugging Nintendo to release these games. So
That's interesting because the Last Story, actually, I see that when I go to the retro shops. I always see this like on display. And I'm like, what is this game? But it sounds familiar. And I could have swore this game was getting re-released for the Switch, but I might have been thinking of a different game actually. Because there was wait, the sequel to this game. Was there a sequel to Last Story? Was there a DS sequel by any chance?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Let me look.
I'm looking right now.
But it's your typical, it's your typical JRPG. I would say it's not the
Oh, Pandora's Tower. Yeah, I see it. It was a U or EAU release or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, but I think I've heard of some stories like that. No, I think I was thinking of a different story, or not story, different game. There was a game that was announced like 2 Nintendo Directs ago, where like the game was made in Japan, and then the sequel was made for worldwide for the DS. But they're gonna bring back the original game for the Switch with the DS as like a bundle pack. And I thought it was The Last Story, but I must have been wrong. So, but that's interesting though.
Oh my gosh, IGP! Don't bring this up. This always annoys me. I'm surprised I'm like, come on. Nintendo has made jokes during one of their Nintendo Direct E3 Directs. They made a joke about not releasing Mother 3. I'm like, what's stopping you from releasing from finally adapting Mother 3? Call it Earthbound 2, or call it Earthbound the sequel. I mean, they released the original Mother. Have you played any of the Mother games?
No, they don't really interest me. Unfortunately, they don't really interest me.
Oh, because it's RPG and all that.
Yeah, it's an RPG. It's hard for me to play RPG.
But it's RPG in a 20th century, in a small town in the 20th century. Instead of fighting goblins and monsters, you're fighting mean old ladies with mean dogs and cats. And you have a baseball, and instead of a sword, you have a baseball bat. And then there's bullies, and then there's aliens and evil robots and evil corporations that make these evil robots and all that. There's a lot of stuff. It's a fun game, and they have a great soundtrack. Like they play a very bluesy soundtrack. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's the soundtracks. I don't know. And like the Blues Brothers literally make an appearance in one of the games. I think in Earthbound, the Blues Brothers, with the suits and the sunglasses and the hats, fedoras, and all that.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of video game soundtracks, I forgot to mention I also liked listening growing up. I liked listening to some of the Mario soundtracks. Like Super Mario Sunshine is probably one of my favorite soundtracks. But Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, I used to always listen to those on repeat a lot. I want to get physicals of those ones as well. They're not too hard to get, but yeah, the Mario 1 or Galaxy 1 and 2 soundtracks are really good. I do own the Mario Odyssey soundtrack. I know you do. I'm pretty sure you do, right? The Mario Odyssey soundtrack.
I don't own it. Like I don't have a physical copy.
Oh, okay.
So
it's good. I like the music from that as well. But any of the 2D games like New Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. Wonder, they don't really interest me as much. So for the music, like owning the physicals.
Really, you don't like? Oh, really? You? I thought. 'Cause I'm really enjoying the. I still have to play some more Mario. I haven't beaten it yet, but I really enjoy the soundtrack so far to Mario Wonder.
Oh, I enjoy it, but it's not like I'm not rushing out the door to go buy the soundtrack unless, well, they haven't even released it yet. If they do release it and there's something cool with it, then I might get it. But one soundtrack I did pre-order is Fire Emblem Engage. They're actually releasing a soundtrack for it in March, so I pre-ordered it here in Japan. So I'm looking forward to that. It comes with a ring. It comes with Marth's ring with a little stand for it. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool to have that as well, because I like Fire Emblem music. I've been trying to get into the games and listen to more of the tracks as well.
So yeah, everybody, he did a video game music stream for Fire Emblem with Cash, I believe, right?
Yes, it was Cash Money.
Okay, and he doesn't take credit. So
That's true.
yeah, he actually, I made that joke to him a long time ago, and he got confused. He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, because you're Cash, you don't take credit. He's like, what credit? Like, what credit? Like, credit for what? I'm like, credit.
Way over his head. Yeah.
Then he got it. He got it eventually. So yeah, Cash is a good guy. He's really funny. We make fun of each other all the time. He calls me Michael Chickless because I got that beautifully round face and all that. And it's just
it's just brotherly love.
Brotherly love right there. So. But the Fire Emblem stuff, I think I was looking at your channel because I'm a weirdo like that. I look at people's channels, and I saw that you played a little bit of the. You played the original Fire Emblem from the Famicom?
Yes. So back in 2020-ish, Nintendo did a anniversary release of the original Fire Emblem. Actually, they did. I think they did physical. Well, no, sorry. They had a physical collector's edition, but I don't know if it came with a physical cartridge. It might have been a download code.
You know how hard it is to get those. I wanted to get a special version of Metroid Dread, and before I could even order it, it was already out. Like all the bots bought them, and all the scalpers bought them, so that they could sell them on eBay for like double the value or something, or maybe $150 or something. So I've given up. I think I've mostly given up on buying those special versions, those special collectors versions and all that. So, but yeah, I actually have the digital. I actually have the digital copy. I actually wanted to. I actually have I have a translated version of it on my NES Mini.
Oh, nice!
If I can get it to work. So I was messing with ROMs. I was messing with ROMs for all the Fire Emblem games. And so I managed to I incorporated, I forget what they call those. I don't know if they're called tags or something, where you attach them to a ROM, like a translation tag or something. A ROM. And so I have a whole bunch of JRPGs that, especially from Enix and from Nintendo, that have never been released, that I can play with
cool.
English with English text and all that. So.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought the 30th anniversary edition of that game, because it came with some cool stuff. And but I haven't beaten the game yet. I think I'm like 5 chapters away from beating it, so I got to get back into it. But my goal is to play through those games. I have some of the exclusive Japanese ones that one day I'll play in Japanese, but I might try the fan translated versions first, just to see how they go. It's
weird because I played a little bit of it myself, that first game. And it feels like I'm not really playing it. Like I'm just positioning people, and then I'm letting the gameplay itself. That's kind of the impression I got. I don't know if that's how you.
Well, you can attack. You know, you can attack, right? Like you position, and then once you get close to the enemy, you can actually start attacking the enemy by you have to choose to attack.
Yeah, so it goes into like it goes into its version of battle mode, but instead of you controlling the battle mode, you selecting what attack or what course of action, it seems to go into battle mode, and then they automatically attack, and then it's just like me watching. Like
that's right. Yeah, because the planning is you have to choose your weapon before you engage the battle.
Okay.
Because you got to make sure you have the right weapon equipped, otherwise you'll lose.
Yeah,
but yeah, the animation is automatic once you start the battle. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and so I got through like the first map. I think each or campaign or something. I forget how that works. There's different campaigns. So I think I got through the first campaign, and I played a little bit of the second one, and I kind of stopped. So I was like, I've never gotten into artsy. I've never gotten into these type of games. I know everybody's like telling me like Fire Emblem. You think Fire Emblem's good? Play freaking Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh yeah, a lot of people rave about that game, but I'm not like really interested in it. But I do know it's like pretty popular.
Isn't it the same thing as Fire Emblem, or is it that much different that to the point
Well,
where it doesn't interest you?
I'm sure that the core gameplay is very similar to Fire Emblem, but there's probably like a Final Fantasy twist to it. I've never played it, so I really don't know. But yeah, a lot of people compare it to Fire Emblem because that's the gameplay style.
Strategy RPG, I think is what they call it,
Yes.
or tactical. Well,
Tactical
Tactics
RPG,
is a tactical RPG. I think Fire Emblem's what's more strategic. I don't even know if there's a difference. Strategic versus
They call it
tactics.
They call it a tactics game. So for Fire Emblem as well.
Okay.
Like Advanced Wars is the same too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Advance Wars, okay. And I forget, did they come out with that one? I remember because of the whole I think Ukraine stuff that Nintendo's like, oh, because of a war going on, we are postponing this indefinitely. I'm just like,
Really? Oh, I didn't know about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they released it. Then they released the
Yeah, they released a Switch version. There's like
Switch
a
version.
Switch version. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that came to my attention, and I know this is not your real house because it's an RPG. Sea of Stars is this big independent game that's made by the same people that made The Messenger. You ever played The Messenger?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Messenger is basically Ninja Gaiden meets Metroidvania.
Oh, that's right. Nerdy Neo talked about it because he's a Metroidvania nut, and he said he was really excited, or he played Messenger, he loved it, so he's really excited for Sea of Stars. But then he found out it was a JRPG. He's like, I don't do JRPG games.
Yeah, so you kind of so I was like that too, but then I played Chrono Trigger. I played Mario RPG and I played Chrono Trigger, and then I learned to walk in the light. So never deal in absolutes. Never deal in absolutes. Be open minded because you never know what you might enjoy and everything, except for modern entertainment. Excuse me. Sorry. So, but yeah. So Sea of Stars was given the seal of approval by because it was heavily based off of Chrono Trigger, and the Chrono Trigger developers played the game and this is freaking awesome. They're like, this is freaking awesome. And can you imagine being like what's funny is the same group that made these are the same guys that made The Messenger. The Messenger got an equivalent seal of approval from the original Ninja Gaiden developers, the NES Ninja Gaiden developer. So to get that, and to years later to get another one for the Sea of Stars from the Chrono Trigger developers, that's impressive in my opinion. So same people. And what's funny, Sea of Stars and The Messenger are in the same universe, I believe.
That is pretty cool. I mean, for them to like recognize that and yeah, he's asking about Western RPGs. Real quickly, give me a couple names that are Western RPGs.
Skyrim, Elder Scrolls games.
So I have 3 copies of Skyrim. I have the 360 Legendary Edition. I have the PC original, like the original version on PC. Mm-hmm. Actually, I have 4 copies. Sorry, I have the Skyrim Anniversary Edition that's on PC. It's like HD upgrade, and then I have the VR version of that. And I've barely played any of them.
So far, like when I think Bethesda. So like when first thing I think of for Western RPGs, I think Bethesda.
Okay, I liked it. But it's hard for me to keep playing. I don't know why. I just have a hard time maintaining interest in it. There's like way too much to do in that game, in Skyrim, or for example.
Yeah, so like games like there's Baldur's Gate, there's Fallout, there's I'm trying to think what else is there. There's
Borderlands considered RPG?
I think it is an RPG, but it's also a first-person shooter. So it's a first-person shooter / RPG. Let me look. Borderlands, because I remember playing it with a buddy when I was living in Central Illinois. Borderlands.
Oh, Red Dead's considered RPG, right?
That's open world. Red Dead is basically the same genre as Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, IJP says
Yeah.
Borderlands is a looter shooter.
It's a looter shooter, but it also has the action. It's an action role playing game, so I think you level up and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, Starfield, which is I heard Starfield's the greatest game of all time. And what's another Cyberpunk? I think that's an RPG too. That's another. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know.
too.
Would CD Projekt Red be considered a Western developer? I guess they would be. Yeah, even though they're based in Poland.
They're
I believe,
Western. Yeah,
they'd be
they're
considered a
yeah.
Western developer.
So Witcher 3 would be RPG then, right?
Yeah.
I have that. I haven't played much of it, but I did enjoy it a lot more than Skyrim.
Okay. I was gonna say Elden Ring, but then I realized Elden Ring is JRPG.
Japanese.
Well, what about that? Would you play that? Would you play Dark Souls and Sekiro and?
If I got it for
Bloodborne?
really cheap, yeah. I'm not gonna pay like more than $30 for those games because I don't have an interest to really play them.
I tried playing Elden Ring. I got a little bit into it. I went as far as I cheated and looked up ways to farm and level up, and the game still kicked my ass. Even though I farmed quite a bit, it still kicked my ass. So, yeah, dog bird people and the dog bird people they're not even people. They're giant dog bird monsters. They are terrifying and they'll kill you. Yeah, I tried to run. They just ate me. It's terrifying. And they're not even bosses. But I swear that spider villain, that Spider Woman in that movie that we watched, Rebel Moon, she was a Dark Souls villain. She was an Elden Ring villain. Spider with a sword. I mean, and the fight looked and the fight looked pretty good, but the fight looked like a boss from one of those games. Like I like how video games have gone so influential on cinema. You would think it would be the other way around because I mean, back in the day, you know, the great Roger Ebert has said, I don't know if you know Roger Ebert is, a famous movie critic, you know, from the 70s all the way till he died. But he said that video games is not a medium that's worthy of cinema. And he said that
times have changed.
He's been gone for a decade now. So, but he's an older boomer. So
yeah,
he was an older boomer. So, but yeah, yeah. So it's funny how times have changed and how video games have just been so influential, and now they're just adapting video games left and right. And I mean, the Mario movie came out, and you and we both loved the Mario movie. The Mario movie was made for everybody. And you said you wanted to do like a breakdown or something.
Yeah, man, I would love to sit down and just like you know Jacob Ironside's live streams that he does when he takes a movie and he breaks it down. I want to do a same style, but for the Mario movie, and we could talk about like everything that's referenced, the music, the scene, you know, stuff like that. Because as for video game players as ourselves, like that's the movie for us to break down, you know. So I would love to do that with you someday in the future. It'd probably be a really long stream, but it'd be a lot of fun.
Hey, I do. I mean, we do breakdown videos too. I mean, me and Dread Roberts, we did a breakdown video for the Christmas for Jingle All the Way. You know, showing clips and just talking about it. And then me and Pops did something similar for Charlie Brown Christmas. So definitely check out those Christmas streams and everything. Yeah, see, I always plug myself. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
So we not only have IJP Mexican, now we have the IJP American.
Yo, check out IJP American. He just dropped a video. Like I think it was like 2 a.m. for me or something. But he's playing the original Lego Star Wars game. So I highly recommend people check that out. I actually just bought it on Steam because it's on sale right now. So I went and bought it.
Okay, I'll keep
that
for
me and my friends. So.
All right, well, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Well, welcome IJP American and Mark Clark, member for a while. Thanks for being here, Mark. Met Mark through Technically Mexican, another great channel, and so I definitely I definitely love seeing you guys come. It's pretty cool seeing you guys come here and hanging out and having conversations and everything. So,
I love burgers. I love burgers too.
if you ever come to Chicago, Chicago has some of the best burgers. You gotta go to Aucheval, and you gotta go to the Loyalist. Those are two, and they're right next. They're really close to each other, in the West Loop. So, if you're ever in Chicago, that's it. So, yeah, I could talk about food quite a bit too. Me and my friend Brian, we talk about food quite a bit. So,
Nice.
But okay, so there was the thing that we were gonna save for this stream, for this Chillporeal. So the Mario movie came out, massive success. They're going to be Nintendo's going to be making its own little. I don't know if it's going to be a cinematic universe, but they're going to be. I'm assuming all of the properties are going to be adapted at some point. So we just heard about a live action Legend of Zelda, and I kind of want to know how you feel about that, AC.
Well, at first I was like all for it because I know that Shigeru Miyamoto is like pretty much has full creative control of it because he did with Super Mario movie. But after some time thinking about it and reviewing like who he has doing what, as far as like directing and writing and all this other stuff, I just see like modern Hollywood like in this, and I don't have faith in like how it's going to be adapted, or it might just get canned because there might be confliction between him and the writers or the director or whatever, and I'd rather see him can the movie than it get turned into a mess. So I think this is my idea. I think it should have been a Japanese anime like movie. It should have been done by a Japanese animation studio and sold like that, because it would have been better received by people, and it would have done really well around the world, and they could still make it for a Japanese audience as well, because I think they need to focus on their core audience, the Japanese people, rather than the worldwide audience, because then the worldwide audience will accept the movie. So yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking up the movie, and apparently there's a video that came out. It's called Link Stars what was it? Link Stars trailer or something. Let me see. It's called what is it called? It's called Link Stars trailer, Legend of Zelda movie trailer debut. So I like how like people are all of a sudden, when there's a big announcement, then all of a sudden people are making like all these trailers. They're these fake trailers, everything, because I think people have too much time on their hands. And
Yeah,
like I'm seeing a whole bunch of, and this is annoying, and I don't want to, not to say anything, not to harp on Tom Holland, but people just have a weird obsession with incorporating Tom Holland into everything. Like Tom Holland is Link, Tom Holland is Marty McFly, and I'm seeing more of these trailers. I'm just like, I think these are AI or something. Just like, leave the guy alone.
yeah, I don't like this. This has been a recent trend in Hollywood where they use the same actors over and over again instead of introducing new actors. So I would, since they're doing this live action, we can't stop it. I would hope they have new actors, people we don't know their background, they're like up and coming or whatever. So it gives them a chance to shine instead of like these losers that like we don't care about anymore because they've been boring, or they've said stupid stuff online or in interviews or whatever. So
one thing that so here's the thing that I'm going to check out. So I think the guy that's directing this Zelda movie is he's the guy that he's currently directing he's directing the upcoming new Planet of the Apes movie. I think it's called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I think that comes out in April. So I'm gonna go see. I actually was a big fan of that trilogy with Andy Serkis as Caesar.
Yep.
That I don't know if have you seen any of those movies?
Yes, I like them. They creep me out to this day, but I still enjoyed them.
Have you seen the OG Planet of the Apes?
I've seen only the very first one, the very first OG one
with Charlton Heston.
Yes.
And I think I might know someone who might have made a retrospective on that.
I'm gonna have to go check it out now.
Yeah, that one was kind of got a nice little bump. It's right now it's my every 48 hours it's my highest viewed video. It's at like 150 views per 48 hours something. So yeah, so it's getting up there. So yeah. But yeah, it's a fun. That's another movie I grew up on too. But going back to Zelda, yeah. So this guy. So I'm guessing this is there's gonna be some. It's not gonna be live action. So I think it's gonna be like the Lion King, the new Lion King. You know what I'm talking about?
Wait, the Zelda movie's gonna be like that, like super CGI?
That's what I'm thinking.
No, 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 no.
There's gonna be motion.
Like mocap suits and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think it's gonna be live action, man. I don't think they're gonna. It would be weird if it was like that, like Lion King CGI with all, because you can get away with animals, but it's really weird to do it with humans. Like humans like have a specific look to them. So if you're trying to do this, because there's a new Gundam movie coming out, and they're using that hyper realistic CGI.
Yeah.
And it looks goofy, like in my opinion. Like you can't do it. So I think with the Zelda movie, if they're doing live action, it's gonna have to be like true live action. The one thing
they're making a live. So they're making a live action Gundam. Sorry to kind of.
Oh yeah. I don't remember the name of it.
All right, no, don't worry. Finish. Yeah, sorry. Finish what you were saying. I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted you.
What I was gonna say is the one thing that's bothered me the most about this announcement is how like everyone and their brother has become like a Zelda expert out of nowhere, like writing articles about how Link.
That's
should
the
be
internet. That's the internet. That's the internet now. Now
Yeah.
people can just rush to a wiki, read the wiki, and then all of a sudden be experts. Like same with like comic, like with Marvel and comics and all that. Yeah, that's the nature of nowadays with the internet. So.
but one point in particular is a lot of people are like debating about, well, Link, will he talk, will he not talk, is he going to be like mute or something? And so like I have thoughts on this, because if this was if this was my dream movie, which was a Japanese studio, Japanese anime, that style, then it can be done because there are these beautiful Zelda mangas that exist, written by these two lovely ladies who I met in person, and they gave a voice to Link that matched perfectly with the Link in that specific time period. So whether it was Link to the Past or Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time, it matched with that character. It didn't feel out of place, and they were all very uniquely different. But because this is an American Hollywood production, like I don't know where they're gonna take it. I hope they don't do a lot of jokey stuff, because Zelda's supposed to be a more serious story than Mario.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried that it's going to be like the Marvel like jokiness, right? The Josh Whedon or
the Whedon speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. And so I'm okay with Link being like speaking, because he should speak. The game version of him is different, because the way that Eiji Aonuma and Miyamoto created him was that you, the player, take over Link, and that's why you don't speak. So yeah, beautiful.
So I'm thinking they might do something. They might do something from the manga right here. So Link does talk in this story, in this ocarina, but he is. I mean, he's just a kid. I mean, he's basically depicted as a kid. I mean, there's funny moments, like especially with him and Mito. So Mito actually goes into the temple with him, inside the Deku tree, and then they fight Queen Goma, and so there is levity. But I don't think it comes at the expense of Link. So like Link is just, he's still the hero, but he's still a kid. So he gets scared. He has, wide range of emotions and all that.
Yep.
And and what's funny is as an adult, he still acts like a kid. He still is curious. He still has that. Behavior. He still has that look, especially like this. That's him as an adult right here. But there are points where he does have to, there's points where it is serious. There's quite a bit of points where it is serious, and the stakes get higher. But I think it could work. I think it could work if Link does speak. I prefer, like in a game, I don't want him to speak, but I think it could work if they get him to speak, and he has to say, "Excuse me, princess."
At least I'm okay with that,
princess.
I'm very okay with just that one joke, but everything else, like it needs to still be somewhat serious. So, I was gonna add something in the future. I'm trying to figure out a format, and I'll answer IJP's Mexican's question here in a second. I want to do a review of each of the mangas because I love the Zelda mangas, the way they've been, like the way they're written and portrayed and everything. So I'm working on a format for it. But anyways, yeah, to his question about if it's going to be original story or based on one of the games, it has to be an original story, but I think it's going to take elements from like 1 to 2 specific games. And if they do it right, they're going to have to take elements from like Ocarina of Time, because that's like one of the most recognizable Zelda
Yeah.
games, sorry. But they could still make it based off the original game, but it'd still be kind of difficult, I think. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, what I want to see them do an Ocarina of Time style story. They don't have to copy the game itself, but I want them to get the I want to get a sense. I mean, like the thing that made Ocarina of Time so timeless is just the concept of growing up and to realizing that, you know, things change over the course of time, and that things are never quite aren't quite the same, and you know there are consequences to the decisions that you make. And so, especially, I think I've said this in my retrospective. I know you watched it. One thing that really took me by storm was when you wake up as an adult and then you see the world for the first time. You leave the Temple of Time for the first time, and you see how the world changes. Especially the shot where you see the fiery halo around Death Mountain.
Yes,
it's dark out, and you hear the wind, the creepy wind, and then there's these redeads in what originally was Hyrule Castle Town. Now it's just the ruins with redeads, and they're sucking the life out of you. And you hear these screams. You're like, "Where is everybody? What happened?" And then you go to the temple, and Saria is gone. She's not in the sacred meadow anymore. And the meadow is infested with dangerous moblins and creatures, and you're just like, what happened to everybody? And it's just it just really got me invested and it really got me invested. I was invested in these characters because of how well they were set up earlier in the game, and how likable they were, and how unique they were. And so seeing them missing and all that, and Link, you know, going into the temples and, you know, trying to get through it just felt really rewarding and everything. And I hope they can capture that type of essence. You know, make it very deep. Make it like maybe not as deep as like, you know, Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, but make it deep enough. You know, make it deep enough to like feel like, you know, the stakes are high. You know, put some characters in danger, some of Link's friends in danger, and just have a story. And you have to have the dungeon dynamic. Now you don't have to have like 10 dungeons because this is a single 2-hour movie. But do what they did in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Have start with Link, you know, taking on a dungeon, fighting a boss, and then go back in time to when he starts his adventure, and then work up to it, then skip ahead, and then have Link complete a dungeon and fight and then maybe that'll be the movie. Maybe this will be a series of movies. Each movie's a dungeon. I don't know how you'd feel about that.
I'm perfectly fine with just a single movie because I don't need Hollywood tarnishing something that I really love. They've done already enough damage with some other stuff, so I'd rather just see a single movie, get a lot of hype from it, and then be done with it. And then Miyamoto can move on to another IP and see if he can do a good job with another one as well. My only concern is, knock on wood, if something were to happen to him, especially even after the movie. Like, how would that affect Nintendo going forward? Are they going to stop like doing any movie productions because he's not around? Because he has full creative control of the movie, especially the Mario movie. So I don't know. I just don't want to see Nintendo get
Well, I mean, and here's the thing: Miyamoto's not a young man. He's 70. He's 71 years old now. So I mean,
yeah.
Unless he plans to keep working like Hayao Miyazaki, because what else is there to do? I mean, Hayao Miyazaki came out of retirement to make The Boy and the Heron, which I'm still editing. Sorry, I've been very slow on that. But he came out of retirement because as a filmmaker, as an animator, it's his favorite thing to do. And when it's better to do something than to not do anything. So he came out of that. So I don't know if Miyamoto's ever going to retire. So I mean, as long as Miyamoto has creative control, he's an executive. He's a chief creative officer of Nintendo, which I don't think exists anywhere else. the CCO.
Nice.
I don't think there's a CCO anywhere else. At least I don't think. But so I think that falls under his, his duties and everything. But if anyone would kind of take over that, there's still Takashi Tezuka, who also worked on Mario and Zelda, Link to the Past. Takashi Tezuka could take over. He's younger, but he's not much younger. He's still older. I don't know if he'll retire. Maybe he won't. And then there's also, who Yoshiaki Koizumi is.
Yes.
Yeah, he could also take over too, because he's pretty much a high. He started with Link to the Past, making the writing the lore and the directions manual. But then he basically led the projects. He was the main producer for like all the Mario Galaxy, all the Nintendo Tokyo stuff. So like all the 3D stuff that was pretty much under him. He was the producer. So Odyssey, Galaxy 1, 2, 3D Land, 3D World, all those games. And whatever this upcoming 3D Mario is, I'm still calling it's going to be an open world Mario.
That's going to be interesting. Very curious to see what's going to happen.
Bowser is going to be like Bowser's Fury, except it's going to be much bigger.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's my take. That's my prediction. So
IJP American's got a good point here. He says he would love to see them treat Zelda with as much care as respect as Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings.
I know, and nowadays, especially with how Amazon's been treating, like you said, Lord of the Rings, and especially the Wheel of Time story, it's just, this is not a good time for fantasy. This hasn't been a good time for high fantasy and all that. So, but there have been good shows that aren't quite fantasy; they're more historical. That kind of fill in that void. So shows like The Last Kingdom, another show that Prophet of the Dragon recommends, which it's not fantasy, but it's, if they were going to do fantasy, you have to model it off of good historical based shows like that. So but yeah, I hope so too. I would love to see a version, a Zelda story done with the gravitas of Lord of the Rings. Do I expect it? No, but even the gravitas of the original games, like that's what I would love that. I would fall in love with it if that was the case. But I don't know. I want to be cautiously optimistic. I think I'm just going to be cautiously cautious because of the Mario, because of how good the Mario movie was. I'm not cautiously pessimistic.
Right. Same.
Plus, yeah, Miyamoto. The reason why the original live action Mario was so bad was because Miyamoto and Nintendo had nothing to do with it. Like they were like, they were like, they didn't care. And that movie was a complete dumpster fire.
Yep.
To the point where Prophet's son Easton said, "This movie sucks." He's 11 years old. He's like, "This movie sucks." I'm like, yeah, you're right. It does suck.
Pop Culture Mechanics got a point here. Miyamoto needs to be on set all the time to be full control. Nintendo needs a tight rein on their IP.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, that's not gonna. Well, Miyamoto's not gonna be there. They'll probably get he'll probably get like a report. They'll probably have a meeting every, I don't know, couple weeks. I don't know how that works there, but I don't think Miyamoto's gonna be on set every day. If
he was younger, he could be, because back in the Metroid Prime days, he was there in Texas observing their development of Metroid Prime.
It was, yeah. It's funny is Metroid Prime exists because of Miyamoto. Now Miyamoto is not known for Metroid. That's Mr. Sakamoto, Yoshio Sakamoto. That's pretty much his series. But when it came to Prime, he was working with the team at Retro Studios. They were trying to develop a game, and he's like, "Why don't you make this a Metroid game?" And they're like, "Okay," and then they made it, Metroid Prime. That's awesome. They what's funny is the developers hated the game, or hated the final product, because they had to rush it release. And it's so funny because I'm like, I think Prime is a masterpiece. Yeah. And they're saying that it could have been better. I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
It's stuff like that really interests me. Like how do the developers think that could be better? But yeah. Like they still managed to, I mean, Nintendo has a high seal of quality. That's why Prime 4 got completely canned by the whoever was originally making it. A lot of people still say Bandai Namco, and now went back into the reins of Retro Studios. But the thing is, the people that worked on the original Prime games are have been long gone.
Yep.
So that everybody's relearning. They have to bring in new people with different skills. They're bringing a lot. I don't know if they're still hiring for that game, but I really hope we see something soon. It's been 6 years. It's been 6.5 years since that game got announced. It got announced in 2017. I remember I was at work, and this was the only time I wanted to scream, and I couldn't because I was at work. I was at work during lunch and everything. So, the music turned off.
Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy to see that. Metroid Prime 4. Like, I hope we get it this year. It'd be an awesome way to end the year too. It all depends. I mean, it depends on how much Mario. If a Mario game comes out this year, they'll take up a lot of attention. So, yeah.
So I got a question. So they had the Game of the Year awards for the video games. So what game this year do you think would have made Game of the Year?
That's hard for me because I didn't play a lot of like the nominees that they had. So I don't know if you're asking like me personally or like of the games I've played. I don't honestly because I only played Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom from the list that they had there.
Okay.
I only play Nintendo games right now because they deliver a quality product and they're games that I'm interested in. I don't play anything else because I'm not interested in a lot of these other games, and especially if they're like broken or whatever. So I'm trying to remember. There's like Baldur's Gate 3. I don't play Western RPGs.
Yeah, that won the game of the year.
Yeah, and I'm glad it did because I agree. I think that game should have won considering how, as far as Western games goes, it was a game that was developed correctly or like was released correctly. Whereas like you had other games that were just like not fun or they're a bunch of like money grabbing games. Baldur's Gate 3 seems to be like a classic game. You play the game and you can play it over and over again. You can play it different ways. There may be some weird stuff in it, but at least the game is a game that functions. So I'm okay with that winning game of the year, but I don't even care about that show, bro.
Yeah,
I lost interest when Last of Us 2 won.
Did you see the? I forget, like, because I know Eiji Aonuma won an award, and I think Leon, Words of Paradise shared it on Twitter or something, and the guy told Eiji Aonuma to speed it up. Like Eiji Aonuma, the guy that directed that was a co-director on Ocarina. He produced Majora's Mask. He produced Wind Waker. He produced every Zelda game, and every Zelda game is stellar. From every Zelda game stellar, and even though I'm not a big fan of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, even those games I consider stellar. Like
it wasn't the guy telling him; it was the teleprompter. There was a photo someone took.
There was a guy. The guy went up to him. A guy went up to him, and yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't see that, but I was very mad when I heard about that. Like, are you kidding me? Like this guy. The only reason why a lot of those developers are up there is because of that guy, and also like Shigeru Miyamoto. Like these guys should be like on their knees worshiping him.
I don't know if you know who you ever hear. I don't know if you ever heard of. I know Nas likes to talk about Deus Ex quite a bit.
Yes,
What's weird is he's not here. But he talks about Deus. He talks about Deus Ex quite a bit, and the guy that worked on Deus Ex. This guy's name is, I think, something Spectre. I think is something Spectre. Let me look. Epic. He did Epic Mickey, and he literally said, like, he worships the ground that Miyamoto walked on, especially with Super Mario. Warren Spector, that's his name. And he literally said because I went to New York Comic Con. And me and my friend Steven went to an Epic Mickey panel. And he was a dick to my friend Steven. My friend asked him a question, and he just he gave a very dismissive type of answer and all that.
Wow.
But he was like, but during when he was talking about the game, he was basically saying like how big of an influence Shigeru Miyamoto with Mario 64 was on the industry and all that. And he was just like talking about him like he was a fanboy and all that. So I'm assuming that's the case for, like you said, like, with, because of him, because of Miyamoto, AJ Numa, and the quality that they put in their games. So yeah.
Dude, yeah, that was insane to hear that, and like that's why I have no respect for the game shows anyway. Like they're a bunch of like clout chasing losers. So they're just there for publicity. Like it's dumb. The whole thing should just disappear, just like E3.
Yeah, and E3 did E3 did disappear. I used to like to watch E3. I used to love watching the press conference. And then they added these like performances. Like I love music. I love seeing a good performance, but not during E3 when we want to find out what new games are coming out. Like they were showing like, they did do something for Zelda for the 25th anniversary, so I was okay with that because it's Zelda. But
Yes.
like the video games awards, I think they're showing like them playing tracks from like Red Dead Redemption. Like I don't want to hear this. I want to see some trailers. Show some trailers. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bad fan of video game music after all. Angrycanadien, what do you say? Maybe I'm a bad fan after all.
No, I disagree because like yes, something like Zelda, 25 years of gameplay, of music, of story, that deserves a spot on the stage to share. But Red Dead's been out for like 5 years, and they're gonna play like random music from it, and it's like it didn't even have the cultural impact that Zelda has. So like, what are you doing? Get off the stage.
I love Red Dead. I think this was from the sequel, and I still haven't completed the sequel. My friend, my Marty told me, he's like, "Oh, you got to complete it." He's like, probably my favorite all-time Rockstar game. I was like, okay. I didn't get that far. I know Red Dead 2 is a really big game, but I love the first one. I love the first one quite a bit. So, but yeah, man, like, I still have to beat Mario Wonder, and it's cool that we're connecting on, all the video game music stuff. I can't wait to do more stuff with you. I think you said your next one's gonna be Metroid.
Yeah, I want to do either Metroid or Donkey Kong. Probably Metroid because I want to get Dempsey in on it, and that's gonna be an interesting stream because I like to keep it to the same console, like a game from the same console. So like, the Metroid was only on the NES, and then Metroid 2 was on the Game Boy. So like,
yes,
if we talk about Metroid and Metroid 2, it's like two different chip tunes and two different sounds, and but then again, like if we just did Metroid, it'd be a short stream. So like, I got to figure out like what would be the best way to tackling Metroid that like would be entertaining and like not super short. So I'm working on it because like, yeah, we'll see.
So, but yeah, man, thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing this stream. It's been 2.5 hours. I'm sure you got other stuff you want to be doing now. So I figure this would be a great place to stop, and I'll let you plug your channel.
Well, so thanks for everybody that's been watching and like subscribing this past year. I just hit 250 subs, which is pretty cool. For my channel, as far as I go, I cover. I like to do video game music, so I do like long form videos of that. I have a couple ideas that I gotta start working on. I do video game live streams as well, so I play a lot of Nintendo games. I'm trying to do like retro games as well as like Japanese release games or Japanese versions of my childhood games. And then recently I started doing Lego build streams. I might do a couple more in the new year when I get some of these sets released or excuse me, when I show off these sets in an upcoming collection stream. And then I appear on other people's channels, but yeah, Angrycanadien, spelled with an IEN, the French Canadian way. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or X, sorry, YouTube as well. And yeah, man, it's awesome talking with you. I really appreciate you hanging out with me also on Christmas Day or Christmas night for me. But yeah, it was a blast, dude.
It was the day after Christmas for you, the late night.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, man, it was cool. It's cool having these conversations. I love doing this. I have to ask you. So this was the second part of this is a sequel to the first one. So AC, everything has to be a trilogy now. So there's definitely going to be a part 3. So the question is, what's going to be the hook into the next movie? What's going to be the cliffhanger? what's going to be the unanswered question or the challenge, or am I going to be challenged for something?
Well, I'll leave you with this, and I try to think about something that we can both talk about intelligently. So now that you've played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you know, and you're not a big fan of open world game or that style of Zelda, I should say, that's perfectly fine. It makes you want to appreciate a game that didn't get as much attention, such as Skyward Sword, right? So I figured you might want to go back and revisit Skyward Sword and see how much you would like that game compared to the last two Zelda games.
Yeah, I only played that one. I only played that game once when it came out, and I definitely have to revisit it. The controls were a nightmare.
Well, if there's a way I can buy you the Switch version, I will, just so you can play it.
Oh
Because
no, you don't have to buy me the Switch version. I have it right here.
All right, well, there you go, folks. Those of you watching, this is gonna be his homework for until the next time we have the third episode, the trilogy. He needs to replay it and let me know how much he appreciates it compared to like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Because I personally love Skyward Sword. It's not my favorite Zelda, but I really like it. There's a lot of good things I can talk about it, and people that complain about the controls, they need to get good, because I'm playing Zelda and I'm going to play Zelda 2 at some point. If you could beat Zelda 2, you can beat Skyward Sword. Come on.
Yeah, I did beat Skyward Sword. I actually did love the ending. But it's I have to play at least this. For a Zelda game that still has the structure that I like in a Zelda, I do need to replay it. So you're absolutely correct in that. It's just
you will like the Switch controls. You will like the Switch controls, dude. They're really easy.
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, that's one of many games that I bought that I still have to play. So, but yeah, I wasn't as big of a fan, but you know, it was. I played. I don't know if I beat it 100%, but I like the fact that you could get. And this is what kind of saved the game for me. So the whole idea of breaking equipment didn't start with Breath of the Wild. It started with Skyward Sword with the shields.
Yes.
And the shields you can only replenish if you went back to Skyloft. So you had to go all the way back to Skyloft in order to do that. And I was just like, I didn't even bother, getting new shields, because if they're just gonna break, I don't want to keep going back there for it. So there was a logistical issue I had. So I always play without a shield.
Wow.
Until you can get, I don't know if it's the Hylian shield or you get like the special shield that doesn't break. And that was what saved the game for me, was getting the shield that doesn't break, because fighting the final boss, Demise, is tough. And
Yes.
You need the shield in order to fight him. So yeah. And I like the mission. I like the mission that you have to go in order to get the shield. I think it's equivalent to, I don't know if it's like the fetch quest in Ocarina where you get the Bigoron sword. I don't remember if it's like that, but I remember it required a lot of exploration to
Yes,
to get.
yeah.
I like that. That was something I did like about Skyward Sword. So I still like I still like the structure to it. Like I said with me, I have not given up totally on Tears of the Kingdom. It's just it just hasn't raised my interest in playing video games in general. So it's more of a me thing than the game itself. So I do plan to resume Tears of the Kingdom. So yeah. So eventually, pop culture's hot take right here. The Demise battle sucked, but I did it with weak controls. Yeah, you did it with weak controls. So did I.
But if you beat it, then you're a real gamer, because I will not listen to somebody's critique of Skyward Sword if they're going to complain about the controls, because then I can say the same thing about Zelda 2, and I want to love Zelda 2. I think there's a really good game in there. I just need to learn how to play the game, so I'm okay with that.
You're talking about the original Skyward Sword, right? You're not talking about I'm
talking about the original, the Wii version. Okay. I don't think the controls were that bad, but that's only because I grew up playing the Wii, so I learned how to use the motion controls really quickly.
It was a steep learning curve, but I did eventually figure it out and everything. So it was tricky fighting Garaham in the first temple. So it was interesting the thing that was so unique about Skyward Sword, a couple of the temples didn't have bosses, and instead you had demon. I don't know if Lord Giraham would just show up and fight you. And I thought I was like, okay, that's interesting. So, interesting having someone pursue you and then fight you in the temple. Because usually, and I think I've said this, usually the temple is usually a trial, and it's usually inhabited by a boss that waits for the hero to fight him and everything. Usually or it could be a demon, like in the case of Ocarina. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, in Skyward Sword, I think almost every temple you go to, Giraham actually creates the monster in front of you.
And
I think in almost every temple.
And I swear, AC, there was one boss in Skyward Sword that looked like a Mario boss. I think you might know who I'm talking about. In the desert, you're on the ship. You're on the
pirate.
It looked like a piranha plant with a Cyclops piranha plant. Or not piranha plant, but like
yeah.
I think that was an octopus. I don't remember what that was.
Yeah.
What was
it was
that?
a one-eyed creature with like tentacle. It had like Medusa hair. It had like Medusa hair.
It looked like something out of Mario. It looked like something that would belong in a Mario, like a Mario.
You are right.
boss.
Yeah.
You think so?
I understand that because the other bosses were not as cartoony as that one.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. That is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Zelda 2. Zelda 2 just. I mean, it's the controls are very simple. Just you just have to learn the timing. Just have to learn the timing of the enemies. And what I do is I duck. Even when I don't need to duck, I just do a duck jab. So I'm ducking. Press down and then just jab. I'm just because you fight the Stalfos. All they'll do is they'll jab at you, and they don't bend down. They don't shift their shields to defend themselves. Their shields are always in the upper position. The nuts, however, their shields do shift. So you have to kind of kind of trick them into hitting them and all that. So sometimes what I do is I will duck and then I will jump and slash, or not slash. I will duck, jump, and jab. Do all three in quick succession and all that. So
that's impressive.
No, it comes from years and years and years of playing Zelda 2. So, I mean, it's not hard like Ninja Gaiden. It's not hard like Battletoads. It's just it's beatable. It's beatable. It's just you gotta learn, especially the Great Palace at the end. Like you gotta learn how to you have to learn the patterns and all that. It's worth it. It's worth it. Like I think it's well designed. Now, do I think it could be designed better? Yes. I think there could be more to it. I think there should have been more items to directly use, maybe like bows and arrows and boomerangs, but that's just me. Other than that, I think that's the game solid. And Dempsey would agree. And no one else will agree. No one else will want to even touch it. So, yeah.
My challenge for maybe 2024 is to beat Zelda 2.
Well, if you ever play Zelda 2, let me know. If I'm available, I'd love to join you.
Look forward to that.
And if you're available, I do want to play Halo again, CE. I'd love if you're available. I'd love to have you, join and talk to me and help me beat the game.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. I'd gladly do that.
Yeah, so I tried with Prophet because Prophet tried to play Zelda 2 and he's like, I can't beat this. So, and according to him earlier, he beat A Link to the Past without me. So, I'm heartbroken now. So,
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's cool having this conversation with me. It's been almost 3 hours. Doesn't feel like it's been 3 hours. So, yeah, it's awesome, man. Can't wait I do want to do some more video, game related content. I haven't really done a whole lot in terms of video content. So I want to get back into it. So the next thing I've been meaning to do is a Mario educational, video.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do after that, but I need to get that done. I promised it. So that's my promise. I promise things at the end of videos saying, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing next. So that's my way of kind of holding myself to it. And I don't know how many other people, I don't know if anyone else, any other YouTubers do that. So, but that's kind of what I do. So, so that's something I do want to do. There's other movies and other anime shows. I want to recommend another anime show, Monster. And I mean, movies, I still have to do my 2001 retrospective. I do want to do Beverly Hills Cop 4 got announced, so I have to do my Beverly Hills Cop one. So I don't know if I'm going to do the first one or the entire trilogy in a single video. So that's something I want to do, and a bunch of other things. So they're like, you know, Majora's Mask. People have been asking for Majora's Mask. Some people were asking. I want to do a Shadows of the Empire one because that's one I have fond memories of. So I really want to cover stuff that I have my earliest fond memories of. That this way I kind of, you know, record it and record it into a video, and that's kind of how I keep the memory alive. Because I'm forgetting shit. I'm forgetting shit. I'm getting older. I'm starting to forget shit. So.
No, I agree. I want to do the same thing too. That's why I focus on the stuff that I'm interested in, like old stuff.
Chris, you did. I know you did Halo 1 through 3, and I think you even Reach for the
ODST.
Music.
I haven't done Reach yet.
Okay, so I'm curious what your future is for doing those music analysis videos. I love the first one. I'm going to watch the second one, probably right after this stream, because Halo 2 is another game that I got super fond memories of. But I love to hear. I love the way you talked about it. I love the way your cadence. You're way ahead of what I did when I started my channel. Like you have proper pacing. You have proper. Like I said, cadence, good sound, good background sound to your voice, decibel ratio, everything. And then the clips were great. Like it just took me back. And yes, I am buttering him up. I am buttering him up. I need the clouds.
That's awesome. Because. Yeah, that's awesome, because I put a lot of work into the first one and the second one, but I felt like the third Halo 3 and ODST were a little bit rushed. So be honest with me with the rest of them if you do watch them, like how they feel, because with Reach, my goal is to put a lot of time into it because that's my favorite out of all of them. So I'll put a lot of love into Reach, and then I will continue and do the rest of the Halo games. My only concern is the Bungie era games. They don't have strong copyright rules with them. But the 343 era games do. So
do they?
Yeah, like actually, do you remember like many months ago you watched me play Halo and then like Pops was in the chat too. It was like a late night live stream. That was a Halo 4 game, and I got hit with a copyright, not a strike, but it was just like a copyright warning for the music. And I was like,
Really?
what? This is a video game. Like, why am I getting hit with this? So I am kind of worried about Halo 4 and 5 if the music's going to be like a problem, but we'll see. If it is, then I'll just put it on another platform and tell people to go watch it there. But dude, that means a lot. You really enjoy it, because I was worried that if it's like too boring to go level by level instead of like doing track by track, but I really like the level by level pace because it kind of takes you through the story of the game as well with the music. So that's awesome.
And it just reminded me of how I've structured my stuff. So I felt like I could relate to it. So cool. Yeah, I like it. I know I've gotten flack for doing doing step by step, talking about room by room, especially for Ocarina. I'm just like, that's my thing. It's my.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Like, this is not a retrospective. This is a walkthrough. I'm like, no, it's my retrospective. There are walkthrough elements, but I'm also telling the story.
Yep.
In my own way. So I don't know. So I mean, if you want to, you can skip to here and everything. So yeah. But but yeah, I can't wait. I'd love to hear, like, especially if you cover other color. Once you're done with Halo Reach, I'd love to hear your take on other, series, maybe Mario Sunshine, because I know Mario Sunshine is your favorite Mario game, I think.
Yes.
I'd love to hear your takes on that, and maybe Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is actually the one soundtrack that I've listened to the least out of all of them. I even when I was at work, I still enjoyed I would listen to a combination of the Breath of the Wild stuff, like especially the very ambient stuff in Breath of the Wild. I actually really I was annoyed at first that there wasn't theme music, but then I should have remembered that Ocarina, especially inside the Deku tree, inside the grottos, inside especially in Jabu Jabu's belly, it was entirely ambient. I mean, it was entirely ambient. So yeah, so I love the wind and that, and now that I go for walks regularly now, it's just I love that peaceful natural sound.
Yep.
So it's grown on me.
That's actually something I mentioned in the first live stream we did together, the first episode of this, that like the Tears of the Kingdom music was interesting. But the more I played the game, the more I realized they recycled a lot of music from the Breath of the Wild. So it to me it lost a lot of points because of like the recycled music. Um, I wish they could have done better with the music in Tears of the Kingdom. Nothing nothing was really memorable that I can think of. Like I can think of music from Breath of the Wild, but it's hard for me to think of music from Tears of the Kingdom. um, I don't know. It's unfortunate. So if they ever do a soundtrack release of Tears of the Kingdom, I'll definitely buy it just to go back and listen to it. But um, yeah, dude, like I it's hard. I like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the music, but the classic Skyward Sword and older is where it's at when it comes to listening to Zelda music.
Yeah, yeah. I love the original game. I love Zelda 2 stuff, but I think A Link to the Past was what really got me. I mean, it got me into the series. It's what really got me into the series. It's the first game ever, the first Zelda I ever beat, and I really got into the soundtrack. I used to just stay. I used to just walk around the room and listen, just bask in the soundtrack.
Yes,
To the point
same.
where I would have the volume turned up, and my mom or my dad would tell me, "Turn that shit down or turn that shit off," you know. So yeah, so stuff like that. And I don't know if I ever told you my Yoshi's Island story. You ever play Yoshi's Island on Super Nintendo?
I
Baby
played the Game Boy
Mario.
version. I played the Game Boy version of it.
Okay, but the Super Nintendo version, you're Yoshi and you have Baby Mario. Every time you get hit, Baby Mario goes into a bubble.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
he's
He
like,
starts crying.
wah, wah, wah. And then there's a timer. You know, when the timer goes to 0, the toadies fly down, take Baby Mario away. But the wah, wah, wah is so loud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like to the point where, I mean, I'm playing it at night, and my like I said, my mom or my dad are trying to get some sleep to go because they have to go to work early in the morning. They're like, turn that shit off, is what
Yep.
I would always hear. And what's funny is I'm looking at other comments, and other people have had similar experiences
Yes.
when they played it. So it's so funny how, like, you know, things that I thought were exclusive to me, the experiences that I've had playing these games that I thought were exclusive to me are actually shared with a whole bunch of other people. And what I really enjoy about making these videos and doing really banking on the nostalgia, because nostalgia sells. What can I say? A lot of people can relate to, like, my initial experiences, especially playing Ocarina, playing Link to the Past, playing Mario RPG, and all that. So it's I'm speechless. It's just how much we relate.
Yep. Oh, it is, and that's just due to the internet connecting us, right? Being able
Yeah.
to find people. Just to reinforce what I'm saying about the classic Zelda music too, because I've been playing through the 3D Zelda games with my wife watching me. She can remember music from those games versus like Tears of the Kingdom, and like I played like over 150 hours in Tears of the Kingdom, but like in the other Zelda games, they're about like 30 or 40 hours of gameplay, and she can remember more music from those games than like Tears of the Kingdom. So I think that just says something to how memorable the music is in those older Zelda games.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. So, but yeah, but like I said, I can't wait to hear your take. If you do more video content,
I
wait
do
to
want
hear.
to. Yes.
I want to hear more, like, you do your Fire Emblem. I'd love to hear your stuff. Maybe it's stuff like that will probably spark my interest and get me to play stuff. It's either I think I've told you this. Either a controversy has to happen for something similar that might make me want to play the original version. So let's say somebody made a terrible sequel to a game, Last of Us, and part 2 happens, and because of all the controversy behind part 2, it made me want to play part 1, because I own part 1 for years. Like, I own part 1 since like 2017. I bought the PS4 version. I think it was PS4 version, and it was just hanging on my shelf, unopened. And with all this stuff happening, I opened it and I played it, and I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but I'll never play the second one because I know the story and I know the direction it goes.
Yes, yes.
I mean, and people really, and I don't know if you watched another adaptation that people have praised is the Last of Us series. Did you watch that at all?
I don't have HBO Max or Max, so no, I didn't watch it.
Okay, all right. So I was curious, but you did watch Halo.
I only watched the first episode and I stopped because I didn't want to get disappointed. I
Yeah.
watched Disparu's review of each episode, and that was the most entertainment I've had. Watching him break it down, it was amazing.
Because it's basically Aliens, but just with cool like just with Covenant, and it's a game. It's an adventurous game. You're fighting as Space Marines, and that's it. You're shooting and killing Covenant and Flood, and that's it. And you're riding these cool vehicles, and you're doing stuff. You're going to all these different places, and you're going all these different parts of the Halo ring. That's it. What else is there? Like, why can't you just make it like a straight adaptation? Like, seriously.
Yeah, that show was not Halo. It had the skin of Halo, but it did not have the soul or the heart of Halo. It was generic, like CW, or is it CW? Yeah, generic CW sci-fi. It was garbage, man. I'm sorry. I don't care. I'll fight anybody any day. Which actually, it was funny. I commented on this one big Halo YouTuber's like video. He went to this like Halo Championship in Brazil or South America, and they did a live first world premiere of the season 2 trailer. And he was there watching it, and he knows what real Halo is, but he still reacted to it because he got the tickets to go there and be in the wherever. And so I commented, he said something about like, oh, like this was the show. I think it's gonna be interesting. And I said like, they can't mask what they did in season 1 with the way season 1 ended. There's no way of them repairing the damage that was done. And then his comment was like, well, they've got a new showrunner and new production or producer and new director and all this other new people. So like, don't knock it down or whatever. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, I'm sure that nice ticket hanging around your neck is really helping you type this out right now. That special treatment, because
it's like that all over. And I mean, and then of course we have the Donnie right here he's a very positive guy. He likes most things, and that's we love you for that. We don't necessarily agree, but we love you for that. So, but yeah, but even with like Wheel of Time, like you have these longtime Wheel of Time channels, they're saying that this new show on Amazon is good, and it's not. It doesn't even adapt the books. It doesn't adapt the story of the books.
Well, that's the same way I view the Halo show, my friend. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, come on. It's crazy. So,
yep.
All right, man. So, yeah, sorry. I just read your private chat. So, all right. But thanks everybody for being here. I have, like I said, I have my Boy in the Heron my Boy in the Heron review is next. So be on the lookout for that. No other streams until next week. But we are going to resume Chillporeal next week. Who will it be? Well, let's take a look right now. Let me sorry. I turn off the music first. All right, let's take a look right now.